Chapter 2663. They even tortured the souls of those invincible kings and interrogated them. But in the end they got nothing. Because these people did not know at all. Damn it, who was it? They had hidden so deeply. The Yi family's elders all had gloomy expressions. From the looks of it, the other party had already calculated everything, even their escape route. Having such a hidden enemy made the Yi family very uncomfortable. In the future, when Wu Dao went out, they would send more invincible kings to follow him. They would bring intact holy weapons, and some forbidden weapons. They could not let this happen a second time. This matter spread far and wide, and everyone was talking about it. Because such a terrifying thing had never happened before. Lin Xian also received the news, so he asked the Yi family. The result surprised him. The Yi family did not know who the enemy was at all. This point gave Lin Xian a huge headache too. It seemed that the enemy was more terrifying and difficult to deal with than he had imagined. However, after this failure, the other party would not dare to act rashly again. The Yi family was not to be trifled with. This time, the Yi family killed all the black-robed men who participated in the hunt. None of them escaped. Their methods were extremely fierce. And that mysterious organization did not have any follow-up plans. Therefore, Lin Xian temporarily put this matter aside. He stayed in the Purple Dawn sacred ground for a few days and prepared to leave, because he still had to go to the Gu family. Then, he prepared to go to the Western Desert and contact Lanrua Temple, where no flower was. This time, Lin Xian did not bring Shen Jingqiu or Morong Qingcheng, because he wanted the two of them to cooperate with his sacred ground and prepare. After he was done, they could join forces to hold a grand event. Lin Xian went to the Gu family and met with Gu Santong. Then he discussed this matter with the Gu family's patriarch. The Gu family also quickly agreed. Then, Lin Xian opened a door and teleported to the Western Desert. Western Desert. The top forces here were mainly Buddhist sections. It could be said to be the sacred ground of all Buddhist sections. Lanrua Temple was one of the best. In the sky, a giant crack tore open. Countless runes flashed as a spirit boat crossed through space and time. It was the Black Earth. After all the energy dissipated, Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon walked out of the Black Earth. Of course, Lin Xian knew that there was another person by his side. It was just that no one else could see it. It was the invincible king that the great protector had assigned to him. Xiao Wu, the woman in the black dress. Now Xiao Wu was his protector. However, under normal circumstances she would not appear. She would only silently follow him in the dark. Only when Lin Xian's life was in danger would she make a move. Lin Xian looked around and narrowed his eyes as he looked at the boundless golden desert. Looks like this is a huge desert. Let's leave this place first and explore the surroundings. The dark red dragon suggested. Next, the two of them turned into streams of light and flew forward. 2 days later, they left the desert. Mountains and forests gradually appeared in front of them. The types of trees here were completely different from those in the eastern wilderness and middle ground. They were all drought-resistant and looked very strange. After flying for another 3 days, they saw mountains again. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. So far, he had not met anyone. Therefore, he did not know where he was either. However, the dark red divine dragon exclaimed softly. Why do I feel that this place is a little familiar? Familiar? Have you been here before? Lin Xian asked. No, but this place was very similar to what was recorded in the ancient books. The dark red divine dragon shook his head. His body swayed and gradually rose into the sky. Then he pointed below and said, Kid, come here. I'll tell you. Lin Xian was puzzled. He rose into the sky and looked into the distance. This is? He was shocked. How is it? Have you noticed it too? That's right, this place is very famous in the Western Desert. This place was called the Reclining Buddha Ridge. The mountain range was like a huge Buddha lying on the ground. It was not man-made, but formed naturally. It was very mysterious. It was said that many saints of the Western Desert's Buddhist sacred grounds had come here to gain enlightenment. However, no one knew what they had gained. Moreover, it seemed that not only the Western Desert, but also the other continents had experts who came here to gain enlightenment. It was said that even the ancient emperors had come here when they were young. So mysterious. Lin Xian was surprised. He did not expect that they would come to such a legendary place. Is it dangerous here? Lin Xian asked. Usually, such places were like forbidden grounds. Even if they were not, they were still very scary. However, this time the dark red divine dragon shook his head. It was not dangerous. There were no formations in this place. However, there would occasionally be a trace of terrifying aura. Under normal circumstances, it would not attack people. Kid, why don't we go down and take a look? Maybe we can gain some enlightenment. Alright, since he had come to this legendary place, it would be inappropriate for him to leave without taking a look around. Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon flew forward quickly. Soon they arrived near the Buddha statue. The two of them landed and saw that they were surrounded by cliffs. There were all kinds of markings on the walls. There were also some patterns and runes. In short, it was very messy. The dark red divine dragon pointed at these markings and said, "These were left behind by those who had gained enlightenment. However, don't underestimate these runes. It is said that someone once found a mark left behind by a great emperor here. Then, he gained enlightenment and became a terrifying saint. Left behind by a great emperor. There was such a thing." Lin Xian was shocked. He looked around, but he didn't find anything special. Of course, the great emperor that I mentioned was left behind by a great emperor when he was young. However, that was already very profound. Moreover, the younger the great emperor, the more ordinary the mark left behind. At their level, it was likely that they would have returned to simplicity long ago and turned complexity into simplicity. If a casual stroke could be developed, it would be thousands of worlds. So that's how it is. Lin Xian's heart skipped a beat. He used the heavenly secret god eyes and golden runes appeared in his eyes. He looked in all directions. He decided to meditate here for a few days. A day later, Lin Xian was astonished. He had gained some enlightenment from these engravings, and it was very enlightening for his own martial cultivation. This made him very happy. However, just as he was about to continue comprehending, a powerful figure descended from the sky. An aura that seemed to be able to split the world descended from the sky and swept in all directions. It wanted to crush Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon. The two of them changed their expressions and snorted coldly. A sharp sword light rushed out from their bodies, and a terrifying light directly cut off the energy fluctuation. Chapter 2664. They saw a young monk descending from the sky in front of them. He was wearing a kasaya and had a handsome face. However, there was an unusually sharp aura in his eyes. At that moment, he glanced at Lin Xian and the dark red dragon and said coldly, "I'm going to meditate and cultivate here. Get lost, you nobodies." His voice was emotionless and cold. Within a radius of a few thousand miles, some figures quickly rose into the air and fled into the distance. It seemed that other than Lin Xian and the dark red dragon, there were other people meditating here. However, after these people sensed that biting cold aura, their expressions changed and they did not dare to stay any longer. Some of them even recognized the other party's identity. They were so scared that they wet their pants and quickly left. Lin Xian and the dark red dragon frowned. Who is this person? He's so arrogant and insolent. When the young monk saw that the others had fled, the corners of his mouth curled up into a cold smile. However, when he saw that Lin Xian and the dark red dragon had no intention of leaving, his face darkened. "You two nobodies, get lost. Disappear in front of me in 3 seconds or I'll kill you." As soon as he said that, Lin Xian's face darkened. The dark red dragon immediately jumped up. "Damn, who are you? How dare you talk to us like that? Do you believe that I'll slap you to death?" Lin Xian's expression was also cold. The two of them were meditating here and did not provoke the other party. However, the other party asked them to get lost as soon as he appeared. He even threatened to kill them. No one would be able to tolerate this, let alone Lin Xian. "You're courting death. Ignorant nobodies." The young monk was also angry. "How dare a little snake make a fuss in front of me?" He raised his finger and pointed forward. A piercing light tore through heaven and earth and instantly arrived in front of the dark red dragon. Boom! The dark red dragon waved its dragon claws and slapped forward. An earth-shattering sound was heard as he smashed the attack to smithereens. It shattered. The young monk was stunned and sneered. "You have some strength. No wonder you dare to be so arrogant in front of me." However, just this bit of strength was not enough to look at. He raised his palm and was about to attack. At this moment, the 1-pound Lin Xian also stepped forward. He raised his finger, and a sharp sword wave flew out. Since the other party dared to make a move, they couldn't blame him. Buzz, the sword chi pierced through the clouds as a terrifying light filled the area. A terrifying force gushed out. The fleeing martialists felt their scalps go numb when they saw this scene. Who was this person? He actually dared to attack Yuan Kuan. Did he not want to live anymore? These martial artists were very surprised. They were all from the Western Desert. Naturally, they knew this young monk and his reputation. Most likely, no one in the younger generation would dare to compete with him. However, this brat in front of him actually dared to make a move. He was simply too bold. Courting death. Fang's young monk was also enraged. A piercingly cold light surfaced in his eyes as countless runes rose from his palm. He slammed his palm down, shattering the terrifying sword chi. However, his palm was also numb from the shock. This made him quite surprised. The other party was very strong, so strong that it exceeded his expectations. "Who are you?" he asked coldly. Judging from the other party's appearance, he should not be an unknown person. He should be a young prodigy. However, he knew all the young prodigies in the Western Desert. The other party was a stranger. He had never seen him before. "Now you know how to ask me who I am?" "Too late." Lin Xian snorted coldly. The other party had threatened to kill them as soon as he appeared. How could he tolerate that? Therefore, he waved his arm and flicked his fingers. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Sword chi flew out one after another. Yuan Kuan roared angrily. The other party dared to attack him. He was courting death. "Kid, do you think you can be arrogant in front of me just because you have some skills? Today, I'll send you to hell." He formed a Buddhist seal with his palm. The Buddhist light on his body shone quickly as a terrifying force surged out. However, Lin Xian's sword chi was also very powerful. The sword flew out, illuminating the area, as if it had turned into a dragon. Boom! The Buddhist light on Yuan Kun's body shone. He formed a Buddhist seal with his hand and slammed it out. It collided with the sword chi again. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. A terrifying light swept out in all directions. With this palm strike, he still managed to shatter the sword chi. However, the numbness in his arm became even more severe. Moreover, what shocked him even more was that the third, fourth, and fifth sword chi flew towards him one after another. Damn it, who is this person? Is he a peerless swordsman? Why is his sword chi so powerful? Yuan Kuan was extremely surprised because he realized that these sword chi were not released by a peerless treasure. They were casually flicked out by the other party. This meant that the other party had not used his full strength. Thinking of this, his expression became extremely cold. In the distance, the fleeing warriors also felt their scalps go numb. In their opinion, since the other party dared to fight against Yuan Kuan, he would definitely be slapped to death. But who would have thought that the other party could actually fight against Yuan Kuan? This was really beyond their expectations. Who is this kid? Could it be that he's a peerless prodigy from some large family? That's very likely. However, no matter how talented he was dead for daring to provoke Yuan Kuan. Yuan Kuan was a top prodigy of White Horse Temple. His Buddhist magic was incomparably terrifying. That kid is so strong, casually flicking out a sword chi, and it has such power. He must be a peerless swordsman. Everyone discussed animatedly. And at this moment, Lin Xian attacked again. This time, he pulled out the ancient Dragon Abyss sword. A terrifying sword light rushed into the sky. The sword slashed down. The entire sky was cut into two halves. The pitch-black crack was like an endless canyon. It was also the first time Yuan Kun's expression changed. This sword chi was really too strong. So this time, he did not resist it head-on. Instead, his figure swayed and he quickly dodged. Relying on his super-powerful dermic powers, he dodged the sword. But at this moment his eyelids twitched wildly, because he felt an extremely terrifying power coming from behind him. Not good. In the next moment, he suddenly turned around and struck out with his palm. Boom! He was blasted back, his aura tumbling. Damn snake! He gnashed his teeth in anger. That's right. The one attacking from behind was the dark red divine dragon. The dark red divine dragon sent the other party flying with a tail, and immediately sneered. We're ants. We don't know what's good for us. Kid, before you make a move, find out who we are. Do you think that you can contend against us with just you? The dark red divine dragon was also so angry that it gritted its teeth. The other party was too arrogant, wanting to kill them as soon as they appeared. Now, they were only retaliating to teach the other party a lesson. No way, this snake is also so powerful. When the warriors in the distance saw this scene, they were extremely shocked. Who are these people? They're actually so powerful. Yuan Kun's face was gloomy. Damn it, the other party is also a super expert. This is indeed beyond my expectations. However, he snorted coldly. Do you think that the two of you can defeat me if you join forces? Chapter 2665. Tear them into pieces. Lin Xian sneered. What a ruthless heart. You want to tear us into pieces without any enmity? Are you really a Buddhist? I think even the demons are not as ruthless as you, right? How can someone like you be called a Buddha? The dark red divine dragon also sneered. No matter what the two of you say, the two of you will not be able to escape death today. Yuan Kun's expression was cold as Buddhist light spread out from his body. His hands danced nonstop as mysterious runes flickered around him one after another. Countless golden runes flickered as if forming a mysterious world that swallowed all the sword light. Yuan Kun stood in the void with a cold expression. What a powerful Buddhist divine power. It could actually swallow such a terrifying sword chi. Yes, this Yuan Kun was really too terrifying. When the cultivators in the distance saw this scene, they exclaimed. Among them, there were also people whose eyes flickered. They did not know how the man and the snake were going to counterattack. Swallowed them all? Lin Xian was also surprised. He did not expect the other party to be so powerful. No wonder he was so arrogant and told everyone to scram the moment he came. But so what? He had even killed an invincible king, let alone a mere young monk. Next, he waved the ancient dragon abyss sword. Terrifying sword chi flew out one after another, densely packed and crisscrossing between heaven and earth. It's useless. You can't hurt me at all. Yuan Kun stood in the void. The golden runes around him formed a world that swallowed all the sword chi. He looked at this scene and sneered. Is that so? How do you think my sword chi is so easy to swallow? Lin Xian snorted. The power of the great dragon sword spirit was not something that could be easily swallowed. Sure enough, not long after, Yuan Kun's expression changed. His figure flashed and instantly disappeared. The mysterious world formed by the golden runes exploded with a bang. Thousands of sword chi pierced out and shattered the place where Yuan Kun was originally standing. It formed a terrifying black hole. Damn it, it actually came out. How is this possible? Although Yuan Kun was not injured, he hit to the side with an extremely ugly expression. The other party broke his divine power so easily. It was really hard for him to believe. The people in the distance screamed as if they had seen a ghost. What kind of sword technique was this sword chi? This was too terrifying. That's right, he was actually able to break through even Yuan Kun's sacred art. And by the looks of it, he was able to do it so easily. Incredible. He was definitely a peerless swordsman. It seems that if I don't show my true strength, you guys really don't know what's good for you. Yuan Kun walked up and spat out a golden pagoda. The pagoda was 6 stories high, and it was engraved with very simple runes. As soon as it appeared, it emitted a heavy aura. Boom, boom. Strands of Buddhist light flowed out and pierced through the void. The terrifying power made those in the distance extremely terrified. Many people knelt on the ground, their bodies trembling. How terrifying. Yuan Kun's strength was actually so terrifying. Oh heavens, he had definitely been hiding his strength. He was even more terrifying than the rumors said. Why do I feel that none of those older generation figures are a match for him? That wasn't all. Probably no one below the level of invincible king tiers could defeat him. Why do I feel like he's close to becoming an invincible king? These people screamed in fear. There was nothing they could do. The power that Yuan Kun had displayed was simply too terrifying. The Buddhist light that filled the sky floated out along with Yuan Kun's palm. All of the sword chi in the sky were sent flying. In an instant, a terrifying sound rang out like 10,000 bolts of thunder. Yuan Kuan was like an ancient Buddha. With the 6-story pagoda in his hand, he quickly charged over. Kid, be careful. This guy isn't simple. The dark red divine dragon reminded from the side. Yuan Kun's strength was definitely at the level of a saint. Moreover, he wasn't an ordinary saint. He was a very terrifying one. However, the corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up. It didn't matter. Indeed, although this strength was shocking, it wasn't enough to shock him. In the next moment, he clenched his left hand into a fist and punched out. The 9-yang divine body combined with the heaven-battling divine fist had the power of extreme yang. An endless fist could destroy heaven and earth. It shattered all of the Buddhist light that approached it. The endless mountains in the surroundings were shaking. The ground split open and countless cracks appeared. However, the vicinity of the reclining Buddha ridge was safe and sound. This was especially true for the great Buddha. Under the terrifying attack, it disappeared without a trace in front of him. People couldn't help but sigh in admiration. This was indeed a mystical place of legends. From the looks of it, even an invincible king's attack wouldn't be able to hurt him in the slightest. No wonder countless people had been comprehending here, and there wasn't a trace of damage. Lin Xian and Yuan Kuan began to fight. Both of them were geniuses of the younger generation. At this moment, their attacks were truly earth-shattering. The momentum was terrifying. The martial artists in the distance were terrified. They knew how powerful Yuan Kuan was, and it made them tremble. However, the strength of this young man who had just appeared also shocked them. Kid, go to hell. At this moment, Yuan Kuan shouted loudly. He seized the opportunity and arrived behind Lin Xian. He stretched out a palm that carried a golden light that filled the sky and fiercely blasted towards Lin Xian. Not good. That kid is going to die. That was for sure. If he was hit by such a palm, he would definitely be smashed to pieces. Even if he didn't die, he would be seriously injured. As expected, Yuan Kuan was still more powerful. The people in the distance were discussing animatedly. With a boom, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Energy erupted, and this palm drowned the world. Ha 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 ha, reckless kid, you dare to attack me? Yuan Kuan retreated and arrived in the sky, looking down coldly. This kid had been dealt with. Next was this snake. His gaze was like lightning as he stared at the dark red divine dragon. Daring to fight with him, how ignorant. The dark red divine dragon's eyes flickered, revealing a trace of a sneer, completely ignoring the other party. In the energy storm that filled the sky, a cold voice sounded. Is this your strength? You're really pitifully weak. What? As soon as these words came out, Yuan Kuan was stunned. The people in the distance were even more stunned. That was the other party's voice. The other party didn't die, and from the looks of it, he didn't seem to have suffered much damage. How is this possible? Damn it, impossible! Yuan Kuan roared angrily and waved his hand. A pair of golden hands stretched out and tore the void apart. The storm that filled the sky also disappeared. In the next moment, his eyes widened because the other party's figure in front of him appeared. His body was shining brightly, and he wasn't injured at all. Impossible! Yuan Kuan was stunned. Even a late-stage 8-star mighty figure couldn't block his palm. The other party was hit head-on and suffered this blow. But he was actually unharmed? It was really out of his expectations. Even if he didn't die, he should be seriously injured. However, there was no blood on the other party's body, not a single crack. The power of the 9-yang divine body had increased again. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes, his heart filled with joy. In the next moment, a piercing light burst out from his eyes. Next, I'll let you have a taste of my attack. At this point, he took a step forward, and the 9-yang divine body erupted. The storm that filled the sky tore through the void. At this moment, he was like a sun war god charging forward. As he walked, the void collapsed, and the mountain range below kept shattering. Chapter 2666. Bang! A golden fist streaked across the sky, causing countless cracks to appear in the void. Yuan Kuan jumped in fright, and hurriedly summoned the 6-floored pagoda to his side to block. Dang! The sound of collision resounded. The distant martial artists bled from their ears, and many of them fainted. As for those who were still conscious, their faces were filled with fear. They saw the six-floored pagoda being sent flying, spinning in the sky, and leaving Yuan Kun's range. Heavens! That golden pagoda was at least a mid-grade heaven step artifact, yet it was sent flying with a single punch. What kind of power did this kid have? What fist? Saint body. He had the Eastern Wasteland's saint body. Someone cried out in alarm. They couldn't think of anyone with such a terrifying physique apart from a saint body. Facing a mid-grade heaven step artifact barehandedly, he wasn't at a disadvantage. It couldn't be. Wasn't it rumored that the saint body had just been chased down by the mysterious organization and was recuperating in the Yi family? How could he appear now? These people also knew about Yi Dao Denier's matter, as it had already spread throughout the entire True Spirit continent. Therefore they were all shocked. A few older generation figures shook their heads. No, he wasn't a saint body. We've seen a portrait of a saint body, and it definitely wasn't him. Then who was he? Was there a physique comparable to a saint body in the world? Of course there was. An older generation figure said in a deep voice. Although a saint body was powerful and astonishing, it wasn't impossible to stand shoulder to shoulder with it. One had to know that the True Spirit continent was too vast. No one knew how big it was, and no one knew how many terrifying geniuses there were in this world. Apart from a saint body, there were many other terrifying physiques. For example, the Gu family's divine body. For example, the demon race's powerful demon kings with heaven-defying bloodlines. Take my Western Desert for example. There are several body refining techniques that are extremely terrifying. 60 Zhang golden body, indestructible golden body, 9 transformations golden body. Once it was refined, it would be extremely terrifying and incomparable. Indeed, as soon as these words were spoken, many people nodded in agreement. Western Desert was the holy land of Buddhism, and Buddhism paid great attention to the cultivation of the body. Basically, every peak holy land of Buddhism had an extremely terrifying body refining technique. However, the body refining technique of Buddhism was extremely obvious. Once it was used, Buddha light, and even Sanskrit chants of Buddhism. However, although his body was also emitting boundless light, it was not the Buddhist light. Thus, they knew that he was not cultivating a Buddhist body refinement technique. Instead, it was a technique that they had never heard of before. Or perhaps he possessed an extremely terrifying bloodline power. Boom! Just as these people were discussing intensely, Lin Xian's second punch came. Damn it! Yuan Kun's pupil shrank. After witnessing the terror of the first punch, he didn't dare to take it head-on. His figure flickered, and countless afterimages appeared in the sky as he retreated rapidly. At the same time, he waved his hand and summoned the golden pagoda that had been sent flying backward, preparing to attack again. Phew, this punch had indeed missed. However, when the frightening energy swept across Yuan Kun's body, it caused him to feel a burning pain. Brat, you've really pissed me off. Today, I will let you experience the great powers of my White Horse Temple. Yuan Kun's expression was ferocious. He had never suffered such a blow. Therefore, he was prepared to take it seriously. However, in the next moment his eyelids twitched violently. This was because an unparalleled power had erupted from his opponent's sword. There was even the roar of a dragon. His expression became extremely ugly, because his opponent's sword qi was even more terrifying than the golden fist. As expected, when the sword slashed out, his entire body turned cold. The golden pagoda in his hand was sent flying again. Cracks also appeared on the kasaya on his body. He simply couldn't believe what he was seeing. This kasaya was also a treasure, but it couldn't withstand the other party's sword light. This was only the aftermath of the energy. If the other party's sword had slashed his body, he would probably have been cut open. Thinking of this, he quickly retreated. Brat, who are you? Tell me your name. However, what answered him was a cold and merciless sword light. Damn it! Yuan Kun roared angrily and quickly dodged. Just you wait. My White Horse Temple will definitely not let you off. Yuan Kun was so angry that he vomited blood. This time he had really lost. It made him lose face. However, protecting his life was more important. He prepared to leave and bring back a few terrifying forbidden artifacts before coming back to fight with the other party. You want to leave? Seeing this scene, Lin Xian sneered. Weren't you very arrogant when you descended previously? Didn't you tell us to scram? Why are you scramming now? Pfft. Hearing this, the escaping Yuan Kun's body trembled, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. Indeed, when he came previously, he was extremely arrogant and didn't take anyone seriously. That was because he had the right to be arrogant. He was young, but he could already kill a late-stage 8-star powerhouse. Not many people below the invincible king realm were his match. Other than a few other terrifying young prodigies of the Buddhist sects, he really didn't take anyone seriously. Therefore, after he arrived, he immediately cleared the place. He didn't want others to disturb him. However, he didn't know that when he cleared the place this time, the ant in his eyes turned out to be a terrifying prodigy. This time he had really kicked an iron plate. How dare you stop me? Seeing the other party cut off the path in front of him with a sword, Yuan Kun turned his head and roared. Why wouldn't I dare? Lin Xian's body was filled with murderous intent. Yuan Kun frowned when he saw the other party's murderous intent. He sneered. Let me tell you, I'm from White Horse Temple. Moreover, I'm a top prodigy of White Horse Temple. If he revealed his identity, the other party would definitely not dare to make a move on him. White Horse Temple was one of the Buddhist sacred grounds of the Western Desert. It was not inferior to the sacred grounds of the Eastern Wilderness. As one of the top 10 prodigies of White Horse Temple, his status was naturally noble. If anything happened to him, White Horse Temple would definitely not let him off. White Horse Temple? I've never heard of it. Are you the White Horse Temple's successor? As he spoke, Lin Xian slashed out with his sword again. This sword transformed into a huge dragon that instantly flew out and slashed Yuan Kun's body. It sent him flying. Yuan Kun's body was directly cut open. Blood spurted out and dyed the void red. Ah! Yuan Kun screamed and retreated crazily. At the same time, his broken body quickly healed with Buddhist light. In the end, he was completely intact. However, his face was abnormally pale. Blood was still splattering in the sky. This scene made the people in the distance go crazy. He made a move, he really made a move. Heavens, didn't he really intend to kill the other party? Who exactly was he? That was too terrifying. Was he not afraid of White Horse Temple's revenge? He shouldn't be from the Western Desert. The eyes of some of the older generation flickered. He was probably a top prodigy from the other continents. Chapter 2667. Is he a top genius from another continent? The cultivators gasped. Yuan Kun's face was ferocious. Kid, how dare you hurt me? Before he could finish his sentence, he turned around and fled. That was because the other party had attacked again. After witnessing how powerful the other party was, how would Yuan Kun dare to attack him again? He directly used a Buddhist grand divine power. Endless Buddhist light formed 2 golden wings that quickly spread out behind him. He tore through the void and ran into the distance. You want to leave? Lin Xian used Heavenly Dragon's 8 steps. A dragon shadow appeared under his feet and brought him through the void quickly. The two of them quickly left the reclining Buddha ridge. Seeing this scene, the dark red divine dragon also followed behind. The others were stunned. Heavens, is the other party really going to kill us? They were extremely shocked and followed behind, wanting to watch the battle. But soon they lost track of them. That was because the two of them were too fast. The cultivators could not see them, but the other cultivators saw them. On the way, many cultivators looked up at the sky. Heavens, someone is fighting a great battle. It should be a late-stage 8-star powerhouse. No, it's 2 young people. 2 young prodigies. Why does the one running at the front look so familiar? Damn it, isn't he Yuan Kun from White Horse Temple? He's a top genius. Why is he being chased? Who's chasing him? For a moment, everyone was stunned. Yuan Kun is being chased. Who is it? They all looked at the figure behind. He's so young and unfamiliar. I don't know him. If he's not a Buddhist, which family is he from? These people discussed animatedly. Bang! Just at this moment, they saw a shocking sword light flash out and slash Yuan Kun's body, sending him flying and vomiting blood. Blood pierced through the void. This scene made everyone's scalp tingle. It's too powerful. Kid, just you wait. I won't let you go. Yuan Kun's Kasaya was covered in blood. His face was ferocious. He gritted his teeth and took out a Buddhist light wheel. A bright light enveloped him, and he disappeared completely. Seeing this, Lin Xian did not attack again, because the other party had used a life-saving trump card. The next time we meet, I won't let you leave so easily. He snorted coldly and did not pursue. A mere genius was no threat to him at all. Thinking of this, he turned his head to look at the dark red divine dragon flying behind him. Let's go. The dark red dragon nodded and waved its claws, grabbing a few cultivators at the side. The martial artists were scared out of their wits. They quickly begged for mercy. Hero, please don't kill us. We are just passing by. Don't be nervous. I won't kill you. You just have to tell me how to get to Lanrua Temple. Lanrua Temple? These people were shocked. The other party had just beaten up a genius from White Horse Temple. And now he was going to Lanrua Temple? What was he trying to do? Could it be that they also wanted to declare war on Lanrua Temple? They didn't know, but they didn't have time to think about it. One of them hurriedly took out a scroll. It was a map that contained the way to Lanrua Temple. Lin Xian probed with his soul spirit, and indeed found a map. After that, he waved his hand and let them go. They hurriedly left. Lin Xian and the dark red dragon's bodies flashed, turned into two rays of light, and disappeared. The news that Yuan Kun was injured and fled caused quite a stir. It quickly spread. Even Lanrua Temple knew about it. This made them very nervous. Not long ago, the Yi family's sacred physique was hunted down in eastern wilderness. Now a genius from White Horse Temple in the western desert was being hunted down. This was very shocking. Could it be that the mysterious faction was going to make a move on the western desert prodigy? They were all on guard. After the people from White Horse Temple learned about it, they quickly sent powerhouses to rescue Yuan Kun. At the same time, they quickly searched and decided to kill the culprit. However, after searching for a while, they did not find any traces of Lin Xian and the dark red dragon. This made them grit their teeth in anger. Lin Xian and the dark red dragon also arrived at Lanrua Temple. At this moment, Lanrua Temple was still shining with Buddhist light, and many ruins appeared around it. Obviously, they had also become cautious. The arrival of Lin Xian and the dark red dragon caused 6 monks to walk out of the light in front of them. They held the Chi Mei staff in their hands and looked coldly in front of them. The people stopped in their tracks. Who are you? Why did you come to Lanrua Temple? They were extremely nervous. Lin Xian said in a deep voice, I am Lin Xian, the master of the Immortal Temple. I am good friends with your son No Flower. Lin Xian, Immortal Temple? Hearing that, the 6 monks' expressions changed. Please wait a moment. We will report it. They hurriedly went to report it. Not long after, a loud laugh was heard. Countless Buddhist runes formed a Buddhist flower that dragged a young monk away quickly. Brother Lin. Haha, it's you. Long time no see. After seeing Lin Xian, No Flower was big. They met again. Lin Xian also smiled. Brother Lin, come with me. No Flower waved his kasaya, and all the Buddhist arrays immediately opened up a path. Lin Xian and the dark red dragon followed in. No Flower brought the two of them to a quiet place. There were mountains, rivers, and courtyards. Come, Brother Lin, try the spirit tea that I brewed myself. The two of them came to the stone pavilion and sat down. There were 4 exquisite dishes on the stone table. They were all vegetarian dishes, and there was a pot of spirit tea next to them. Delicious. Lin Xian tasted it, and found it surprisingly delicious. I didn't expect that No Flower would have such culinary skills. The dark red dragon at the side finished all the food. Little monk, do you have more? He was very happy. No Flower smiled and said, Yes, I have enough. Soon, he waved his hand, and exquisite dishes appeared on the table again. At the same time, he took out a guqin and played it gently. The sound of the guqin was pleasant and comfortable. It even carried a mysterious power. Lin Xian felt that he had entered an unprecedentedly relaxed and peaceful state. The dark red dragon at the side was also surprised. No Flower was really amazing. His attainments in the Buddhist Dharma were so high, he would probably become a holy monk in the future. The sound of the guqin was melodious. On the other side, the sound of the guqin was also pleasant. It was a mountain. A man in a blue robe was holding a phoenix guqin and playing it gently. Cranes and spirit rabbits were flying around him. Obviously, they were all attracted by the sound of the guqin. Whoosh! Suddenly at this moment, not far from him, the ground bulged, and then a head stretched out from the ground. The head was very strange. It was completely wrapped in black fog, and the face could not be seen clearly. As soon as he appeared, he looked at the man in blue in front of him. The plan has failed. Our people have all been killed. Hearing that, the man in blue stopped. Suddenly, the sound of the guqin also gradually stopped. When the sound of the guqin stopped, the surrounding cranes and spirit rabbits all ran away. When the black-robed man appeared, they were not afraid. But now that the sound of the guqin had disappeared, these little spirit beasts all left. Chapter 2668. I've already heard about it. The entire eastern wasteland, and even the true spirit world is abuzz. But I'm curious. We've been planning for so long, and we've mobilized so much power to get such a good opportunity. Logically speaking, Leif Daudinier should have died without a doubt. But why is he still alive? The blue-robed man's voice was cold and emotionless. There were 108 stars on his robes, all of them flickering in and out of existence. Our plan had been successful, and Leif Daudinier had been seriously injured. He should have been killed soon. But then a brat jumped out and completely ruined our plans. Brat? What brat? The blue-robed man frowned. He had found the crux of the problem. Lin Xian, the master of Immortal Palace. He was the one who brought a few experts from Immortal Palace to save Leif Daudinier, and ultimately caused our plan to fail. Lin Xian, the master of Immortal Palace? It was actually him. The blue-robed man's eyes flashed coldly. How could he have appeared at a time like this? I don't know, but he was the one who ruined the plan we've been working on for so many years. The black head radiated a shocking killing intent. Could it be that Leif Daudinier was destined to die? The blue-robed man stood up, clasped his hands behind his back, and looked up at the sky. Yang Qi sighed. After this, it would be very difficult to kill Leif Daudinier again. However, if Leif Daudinier was allowed to grow, it would be troublesome. What should we do? Should we give up? The black head asked. The blue-robed man shook his head. Give up? Impossible. Leif Daudinier might be powerful, but it'll take him a long time to grow. Although he's being protected, we can do it in the open. Let all the young geniuses of the world challenge him. I refuse to believe that he'll win every battle. It seems you have a plan. The black head nodded. But what about that Lin Xian brat? This time he ruined our plan. Should we send someone to deal with him? No need. It's not convenient for us to show our faces. Find someone to contact the infernal realm and have them attack. Let's not make any moves for now. I'll make some arrangements. Wait for my news. Alright, I'll contact the infernal realm and have them attack that brat. The black head drilled into the ground and disappeared. The crack in the ground healed once again. The blue-clothed man's eyes flickered. His eyes were like the incomparably deep starry sky. Lin Xian, let's see what qualifications you have to mess up my plan. Lin Xian had no idea that he was being targeted by the same mysterious organization that had killed Leif Daudinier. He was currently in the middle of a discussion with No Flower. When No Flower learned of Lin Xian's intentions, she was also extremely surprised. Soon, he found the abbot of Lanrua Temple and quickly explained the situation. Lanrua Temple also treated them with great respect. In the end, both sides also formed an alliance. Brother Lin couldn't stay here any longer. Seeing that Lin Xian was about to leave in a hurry, No Flower tried to stop him. Lin Xian shook his head. This matter is urgent. We should make preparations, and then join forces, to hold a meeting to announce the news of the dragon nest to the world. Don't worry, Lanrua Temple will definitely do our best in this matter. Both sides waved goodbye. Lin Xian and the dark red dragon soared into the sky. The two of them left Lanrua Temple and prepared to return to the reclining Buddha Ridge to meditate for a while. Then, they would open the door and return to the immortal palace. This time, Lin Xian and the dark red deity's meditation went smoothly. About a month later, on this day, Lin Xian opened his eyes. He had made some progress in his meditation. He felt that his understanding of martial arts had deepened. Not only that, his mastery of various divine abilities had become more proficient than before. Beside him, the dark red dragon had also gained something. However, at this moment, Lin Xian and the dark red dragon's eyelids suddenly twitched. Then, the void split open, and two shadowy figures quickly attacked. Whoosh 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 clang, an earth-shattering sound was heard. Lin Xian and the dark red dragon were forced back. They knocked over 2 mountains and fell into endless ruins. Damn it, who dares to attack me? A dragon's roar rang out as countless rocks were blasted away. The dark red dragon flew out, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. On the other side, Lin Xian also smashed all the rocks with a punch and walked out. Golden runes appeared in his eyes and swept in all directions. Who is it? Did Yuan Kun bring the people from White Horse Temple here? If they don't know what's good for them, I don't mind sending them on their way. Lin Xian was stunned. No, it's not a monk. It's not the people from White Horse Temple. It should be a group of assassins. That was because he realized that these people were hiding in the void and constantly changing their positions. If he didn't have the heavenly secret divine eyes, he wouldn't have noticed them at all. What a terrifying assassination technique. The 2 blurry figures in front were also surprised. They didn't die, and they weren't injured. The 2 of them were too shocked. That was because the attack just now was a sure kill attack. They could even kill a late-stage 8-star mighty figure with one strike. However, the 2 of them were only blasted away and knocked over 2 mountains. They weren't injured. Could it be that they're wearing some kind of treasure armor? Damn it, it's the 2 of you who ambushed me? The dark red dragon stared at the 2 shadow-like assassins. He waved his dragon claws and shrouded the front. With a bang, the void shattered, but the 2 figures calmly dodged. Their speed was very fast, so fast that it was hard to believe. They actually dodged. Damn it, it'll burn you to death. The dark red dragon opened its mouth and spewed out dragon flames that completely enveloped the void. Now it was no longer a problem that could be solved by speed. However, the 2 ghostly figures disappeared into the void with a swoosh. Concealment technique. The dark red dragon was shocked. If they're not from the Gu family, then they're assassins. And they're not ordinary assassins. Kid, we're being targeted. Can you tell which organization's assassins are from? Lin Xian's eyes lit up as he looked in all directions. I can't tell, but judging from the other party's speed and this assassination technique, I'm guessing that it's the people from the 3 major assassin dynasties. The 3 major assassin dynasties? Lin Xian's expression was solemn. He had fought with the assassins from the 3 major assassin dynasties before. At that time, he did feel a strong sense of danger. He didn't expect that after so many years, the other party would make a move again. However, he knew that the other party wouldn't take the initiative to attack. Someone must have spent a lot of money to assassinate him. That was why the assassins took action. But who is it? Who wants to assassinate me? He didn't know because there were too many people who wanted to kill him. The Yin-Yang sect, the 5 Elements Palace, the Tai dynasty, and the War tribe were all possible. Since he couldn't think of anyone, he could only capture 2 and search their souls. Whoosh! Thinking of this, the void on Lin Xian's left shattered again. A black longsword pierced over. Chapter 2669. Puff. The dark red divine dragon was startled when the long sword pierced through, but he soon breathed a sigh of relief, because there was no blood spilling out. Not good. The shadow assassin was also stunned. Then he retracted his long sword and quickly retreated. He knew that what he stabbed was not the other party's real body, but an afterimage. It was just that the afterimage was so fast that even he did not recognize it. Whoosh! The afterimage disappeared, and Lin Xian's real body appeared in the same place, as if he had never left. This scene made the shadow assassin extremely shocked. The other party's speed was too fast. Did he want to leave? Lin Xian stretched out a large hand and grabbed in front of him. The terrifying palm carried endless light, shattering the void. The terrifying power was like an ocean, shrouding the shadow assassin. Get lost! The shadow assassin roared, and his long sword turned into lightning, slashing at Lin Xian's palm. Every sword cut through the void, and could injure a peerless almighty. However, such a terrifying sword light clashed with the radiant palm, splashing countless sparks. But it could not hurt the palm. Damn it, how is this possible? The shadow assassin was shocked, and the assassins hiding in the dark also exclaimed. Not good body training technique. This kid had an extremely powerful body training technique. His physique was very strong. Everyone had to be careful when they assassinated. These people quickly transmitted their voices, and the others looked even more dignified. These assassins' eyes bloomed with a biting cold light, trying to find Lin Xian's weakness. Lin Xian's large hand shook, and his palm seemed to turn into a thunder hammer. With a boom, it directly smashed the long sword in half. Whoosh! In the next moment, the thunder hammer palm turned into a large azure dragon palm, enveloping the shadow assassin. Damn it, get lost! The assassin roared, and an endless murderous aura rushed out of his body, piercing through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. However, he could not do anything to the palm. Lin Xian looked down and asked coldly, "Speak, who sent you to kill me?" "Don't even think about it. We won't sell out the buyer's information," the shadow assassin roared. In the next moment, the endless killing intent on his body turned into a black sea. A ferocious ghost face rushed out from his body. His palm shot towards Lin Xian. Not only was this ghost face's killing intent extremely heavy, but it also carried an incomparably gloomy and cold aura, as if it had rushed out from hell. The infernal realm was the infernal realm of assassins. Seeing this scene, the dark red divine dragon screamed, because this aura was too obvious. Lin Xian's eyes also flashed with a fierce light. Hell's dynasty of assassins? If you don't want to talk, I'll search your soul myself. 2 rays of piercingly cold sword chi shot out from his eyes, directly destroying the ghost face. At the same time, a golden rune flashed and forcibly extracted his soul. That assassin from hell screamed miserably. Clearly, this collision of souls had caused him too much damage. However, it didn't take long for his head to explode, and his soul to shatter into pieces. The yin-yang qi under Lin Xian's feet spun, bringing him back quickly. The 9-yang divine body also blocked all the energy impact. However, his expression was somewhat ugly. This was because an extremely terrifying restriction in the assassin's mind had exploded as soon as he collected his soul. Obviously, this restriction was set up in advance by the Hell's dynasty of assassins. The purpose was to prevent others from searching their souls. These assassins had extremely powerful restrictions in their bodies. Once they were in danger of death, they would explode with a loud bang. This would not leave any clues for others. The dark red divine dragon said from the side. Damn it, how could they be so cautious? Lin Xian's expression was cold. There was no other way. The 3 great dynasty of assassins had been passed down since ancient times, and had not been destroyed for so long. They must have endless secrets. They would not allow this kind of secret to be leaked. Not even a trace of it would be allowed to be leaked. Is that so? If that's the case, then there's nothing to worry about. I can only kill all of these assassins. Lin Xian's body shone brightly, and a murderous aura erupted from his eyes. Since the other party had come to kill him, he would not show any mercy. Get out here, all of you! A cold shout shook the 9 heavens. However, these assassins were very experienced, and would not let personal feelings affect their emotions. Although their companions had been killed, they did not act rashly. They were still lurking in the void, waiting to find the driver. As expected of the people of the ancient dynasty of assassins, they were indeed terrifying. You don't want to come out, right? Do you think I can't find you if you don't come out? A golden vortex appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. He suddenly turned around and threw a punch behind him. Boom! A terrifying force accompanied the punch and directly blasted the void behind him. The 2 assassins from hell were forced out. The 2 men's expressions changed. Damn it, how did he find out? Impossible, he must be dreaming. The 2 of them attacked decisively. Black sword chi fell from the sky and slashed toward Lin Xian. The terrifying murderous aura made even the peerless almighties tremble. Obviously, these assassins were very terrifying. Lin Xian also faced the attack with all his strength. He used the heaven-fighting divine fist and the nine-yang divine body to attack. The sword chi that filled the sky kept shattering. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. However, at this moment, four shadow assassins appeared from behind and directly attacked his back. For a moment, Lin Xian was attacked from the front and back. It had to be said that the timing of these four people was too exquisite. Just as Lin Xian punched, the four of them took action. This was the time when warriors were most relaxed. Their alive slain technique was indeed terrifying. "Kid, be careful!" The dark red divine dragon roared and was about to attack. However, he was also surrounded by four assassins from hell, firmly surrounding him. "Get lost!" With the four assassins fighting, Lin Xian's side was in great danger. "Just a mere assassin, you want to kill me?" Lin Xian shouted coldly as the dragon sword domain surged out. Behind him, it transformed into a giant sword and slashed out. With a clang, the four assassins were sent flying. The two assassins in front were also sent flying by a punch. The six top assassins vomited large mouthfuls of blood, their faces full of shock. "Damn it, he's too strong." The other party was too strong. In an instant, he had injured six top assassins. This made them feel incredulous. One had to know that they had already estimated the other party's strength and ranked him as a top existence among the holy sons. Moreover, as a precaution, they had sent out a large number of top assassins this time. Killing any peerless almighties was not a problem. They were even confident that they could kill an invincible king. Because other than these assassins, there were even more terrifying existences. Lin Xian stood in the air, looking disdainfully in all directions. "Just 6 assassins and you dare to kill me? You really don't know life from death." Chapter 2670. His eyes shone with a cold light. However, at this moment, a cold and merciless power came from the sky. A large black palm descended from the sky. It completely enveloped Lin Xian. At the same time, countless black gas appeared around him, forming hell and sealing off Lin Xian's escape route. In the sky, on the ground, in all directions there were terrifying attacks. Lin Xian was completely sealed. Not good. The Crimson Divine Dragon's expression changed when he saw that. He could sense that the power was too terrifying. Damn it, this assassin's power is too terrifying. He did not expect that the assassins from hell would send out such a powerful existence. This energy was indeed too terrifying. The entire world was trembling rapidly. Even a peerless almighty would not be able to escape death. Only an invincible king would be able to escape such an attack. Therefore, seeing this scene, the 6 assassins from hell sneered. "What a reckless brat. You dare to go against the infernal realm? Now you can die obediently." If the elders attacked, he would definitely die. "Get lost." Lin Xian roared angrily. He used the 9-yang divine constitution to the limit. Rays of light bloomed, making him look like a god of war. He held the ancient dragon abyss sword with both hands and slashed down. Endless thunder surged, and a terrifying chaotic aura filled the air. The terrifying power of the 5 forms swept across. He used the 3 heaven-grade sword techniques to the extreme. At this moment, he slashed the heavens and destroyed the earth. Boom! Boom! A loud dragon roar sounded. The surrounding hell was cut into pieces by him. The large palm in the sky was also pierced by the 2 dragon-shaped sword chi. However, this palm strike was truly too terrifying. Even though it was pierced, it still fell like an ancient demonic mountain and crashed into Lin Xian's body. This brat is not simple. He can actually destroy such a terrifying hell and penetrate our elder's palm of light. His strength was simply too terrifying. Yes, it's probably not inferior to the Eastern Wilderness sacred body. The assassins from hell discussed in low voices. Some assassins sneered. So what? No matter how powerful he is, he can't escape death in the end. There are more than 10 million prodigies in the hell kill. Yes, that's right. Once you're dead, you're nothing. No matter how talented you are, you will only become a corpse in the end. The men sneered. Boom! Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out as the light in front of him exploded. Lin Xian's body flew out like a meteor, crashing into a dozen mountains. Few in the sky, a black-robed old man walked out. His aura was powerful. Seeing this scene, the dark red dragon was extremely shocked. An invincible king. It turned out to be an invincible king-level assassin. It was too terrifying. Such an assassin could kill other invincible kings. Furthermore, the alive-slain method of these people was very terrifying. In a head-on confrontation, that kid was probably in danger. However, the dark red dragon god knew that Lin Xian might be injured, but it was impossible for him to be killed. Boom! Sure enough, in the next moment, the ground split open and Lin Xian rose into the air. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and his eyes were sharp. There were traces of blood on his body. That palm strike had indeed injured him. Not only were there external injuries, but there were also internal injuries. However, the longevity art quickly circulated and repaired him. The nine-yang divine body released billions of rays of light. Lin Xian's eyes were like lightning as he stared at the black-robed old man in the distance. An invincible king-level assassin? You guys really think highly of me. He didn't expect that the Hell Assassins would have such a lineup to kill him. A saint-level genius. They actually sent an invincible king-level assassin. Who was it that wanted him to die so badly? What, he's fine? That's impossible. The Hell Assassins were all stunned as they looked at this scene in disbelief. The other party had received a palm strike from their invincible elder. How could he still be alive? One had to know that the gap between an invincible king and a peerless almighty was huge. With a palm strike, a peerless almighty had no chance of survival. However, the other party was only injured and didn't die. This was beyond their expectations. The invincible assassin was also stunned. What was going on? Was it the Taoist robe on his body? He looked at the flaming Taoist robe and shook his head. No, it wasn't a Taoist robe. A Taoist robe couldn't block my palm. Could it be that this kid had a special body tempering technique? But so what? The gap between the two sides was too big. He didn't believe that the other party could escape from his hands. In the next moment, the invincible king-level assassin sneered. Kid, you've exceeded my expectations. To think that he was able to survive under my attack. However, that was all. Everything was over. This time, there was absolutely no chance of survival. As he said that, he raised his palm again. The spirit energy within a radius of tens of thousands of miles gathered towards his palm. An incomparably dark palm with a biting cold murderous aura pushed out horizontally. Humph. Lin Xian snorted coldly and used the chaotic yin-yang steps to dodge quickly. The void around him was completely shattered, and the mountains below collapsed. It was a scene of apocalypse. Of all the places, only the giant Buddha was intact. Lin Xian dodged the palm and was sent flying by the palm wind. Countless sword chi rushed out of his body and destroyed the force. He only stopped after flying for 2,000 to 3,000 miles. He didn't die again. The people of Assassin Divine Dynasty were stunned, and the invincible king-level assassin's face darkened. Previously, he was extremely confident and didn't put the other party in his eyes, threatening to kill the other party with one palm. But now, after 2 palms, the other party was still alive. This was a slap to his face. Let's see how long you can hide. The invincible king-level assassin attacked crazily, and one terrifying palm after another flew towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian used the chaotic yin-yang steps and turned into a yin-yang light, shuttling between the countless palm shadows. After more than 10 palms, Lin Xian was still alive, and the invincible king-level assassin's face was completely pale. Damn kid, you've completely angered me. He waved his palm, and a pitch-black hell domain flew out and enveloped the surroundings. At the same time, he pulled out a killing sword, and the killing intent on his body suddenly erupted. It seemed that he was really determined to kill. Lin Xian looked at the other party and sneered. Old thing, do you think you can kill me? Kid, don't be so eloquent. Today, you will definitely die. You can't escape from my palm. The invincible king-level assassin snorted coldly, and the Hell Domain assassins sneered. Idiot kid, how dare you be arrogant in front of our elder? You're courting death. That's right. Our elder has assassinated several invincible king-level assassins. Do you think you can survive? Do you really know the power of an invincible king-level assassin? These people sneered and looked at Lin Xian, as if they were looking at an idiot. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Is that so? I think you're the ignorant ones. Chapter 2671. Who beside Lin Xian? A woman in a black dress and a black veil walked out. The power of an invincible king erupted from her body. What? An invincible king? This guy also has an invincible king by his side. This scene caused the Hell Assassins to exclaim. The invincible assassin's expression also became ugly. Damn it, he was too careless. His opponent actually had an invincible king. No wonder he was so arrogant. However, he soon sneered. Kid, do you think you're safe with an invincible king? You have to know that many invincible kings have died in my hands. Today, I'll let you know that there's a difference between invincible kings. I'll let you see the ultimate killing move of my assassin dynasty. Is that so? Let's see if you can succeed, or if I'll kill your disciples first. With that, Lin Xian's figure flashed, and like a god of war he rushed out. How dare you? Seeing Lin Xian rush towards the other assassins, the invincible king's expression changed. He swept his long sword, wanting to kill Lin Xian. However, Xiao Wu also made a move. Her jade-white palm was like the hand of a god, blocking the terrifying sword light. Your opponent is me. Xiao Wu's voice was cold. Damn it, get lost. The two unrivaled kings fought together. Seeing this scene, the dark red divine dragon also laughed, not knowing the difference between life and death. Now it's time to harvest. He didn't hold back anymore, and several heaven-grade artifacts were thrown out by him, sweeping across the area. As for Lin Xian, he charged towards the 6 assassins from hell, courting death. Seeing Lin Xian rushing towards them, the 6 hell assassins roared angrily. Lin Xian wanted to kill the 6 of them alone? This was too much. Damned ant, go to hell. The 6 of them roared angrily. They were all extremely top assassins, and killing a peerless almighty was not a problem. Therefore, at this moment, the 6 of them attacked, and it was really terrifying. Terrifying killing intent swept through the world. It flooded towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian roared angrily and took a step forward, exuding a supreme aura from his body. He swung his fists, opened the big box, and pressed forward with indomitable will. This was the essence of the heaven-battling divine fist. Boom! Boom! The battle between Lin Xian and the 6 top assassins was extremely terrifying. The 6 top assassins were extremely shocked. The other party had single-handedly resisted the 6 of them. Moreover, this was only the other party's fist. His opponent's sword chi was even more terrifying. One of them was directly split into 2. This assassin had fled thousands of miles away and reassembled his body. His face was filled with terror. The other assassins also sucked in a cold breath. Too frightening, too frightening. Could it be that he was the second saintly being? How could his physique be so strong? The killing techniques that they were so proud of were actually unable to pose any threat to the other party's physique. This was too shocking for them. Killed with a furious roar, Lin Xian charged over again. His voice was like a thunderstorm, carrying with it an invincible conviction. This scene caused the expressions of the assassins from hell to change. Not good, his aura is too strong. If this continues, we will definitely die. We have to disrupt his invincible confidence. These assassins quickly retreated and dodged, preparing to look for an opportunity. In the distance, the invincible assassin who was fighting with Xiao Wu was also shocked by the confidence that the other party displayed. That aura of indomitable will surprised even him. This young man was simply too terrifying. The Killer King's clone. He formed a hand seal with his palm, and a shadow rushed out of his body and quickly charged out. Die, brat! This shadow was very fast. In an instant it arrived near Lin Xian. The black dagger in its hand was constantly waving. This was a clone of the other party, and it also had the power of an invincible king. At this moment, coupled with that terrifying killing technique, it was truly terrifying. Buzz! Lin Xian directly pulled out the dragon-shaped sword and slashed out. It was as if 10,000 dragons had attacked, directly splitting the clone in half. What? This scene caused everyone to tremble in shock. The 6 top-notch assassins were completely dumbfounded. Even the invincible assassin's eyelids were twitching wildly. One of his clones was killed in an instant just like that? Impossible. How could the other party be so strong? Could it be that the other party had not used all of his strength before? Thinking of this, the invincible assassin's body turned cold. He roared angrily. Retreat! Hurry up and retreat! This mission is cancelled. Hearing this, the top assassins retreated crazily. You still want to leave? The dark red divine dragon's body grew larger, becoming tens of thousands of feet long, directly enveloping 4 top assassins. The other 6 top assassins fled crazily. Stay for me. Lin Xian waved the dragon-slaying sword domain, and thousands of sword chi descended, enveloping the 6 top assassins. The 6 assassins also activated their own domains to resist. Boom boom boom, an earth-shattering sound was heard. In the dragon sword domain, the roar of a dragon sounded, and countless dragon-shaped sword chi flew out, firmly restraining the domains of the 6 top assassins. There were even 2 of the domains that were directly pierced through. This sword chi was too terrifying. It pressed forward with indomitable will, destroying the heavens and earth. It was even more terrifying than the war god fist technique. It made the 6 top assassins tremble. In the end, there was no suspense. The 6 top assassins were all killed. They were split in half, and even their souls were split open by the sword. Because Lin Xian couldn't detect the souls of these people, he didn't hold back at all. Damn it! The invincible assassin roared. The 4 to 10 top assassins he brought were all killed. This made his heart bleed. Kid, just you wait. I will not spare you. At this point, his figure flickered, and he turned around to leave. Humph, Xiaowu snorted coldly. She wouldn't let him leave. In the next moment, she waved her hand, and a black whip lashed out. The black whip was covered with scales. It was very strange. In an instant, it wrapped around the invincible assassin. Pung pung pung. Ah! A miserable sound rang out. The scales on the whip all pierced into the assassin's body. Immediately, blood spurted out and dyed the void red. Damn it, they'll fight it out for you. An ancient figure rushed out from his body, and a terrifying aura burst out. However, this ancient figure had just rushed out 1/5 of the way when a black shadow flew out from the black whip in Xiaowu's hand. It covered the sky and earth, and with a pair of black wings, it directly swallowed this invincible assassin. His bones shattered and blood splattered everywhere. A moment later, this invincible assassin was killed. How terrifying! Lin Xian was shocked. This was the first time he saw Xiaowu attack. He didn't expect the other party to be so powerful. It seemed that Immortal Palace had given him a very powerful invincible king. After killing this invincible king assassin, Xiaowu withdrew the black whip and disappeared into the void. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he swept his gaze across the bodies of these assassins. In the next moment, he summoned all 6 of their storage rings. Chapter 2672. The items in these 6 people's storage rings weren't rich, and there wasn't even any record of hell. There were only some pills, a few weapons, and armor. Other than that, there was nothing else. They were really cautious. There wasn't a single cultivation technique book, nor was there any record of it. There were only things related to battle. Who was it that hired these assassins from hell? Lin Xian's eyes flickered. Could it be that monk from before? The dark red dragon frowned. Previously, they had chased away a genius from White Horse Temple. Perhaps the other party was the one who did it. Lin Xian shook his head. No, it wasn't him. This was the Western Desert. If he wanted to make a move, he could have just found the experts from White Horse Temple. Why would he invite the assassins from hell? I think it's inconvenient for those people to take the initiative to attack. Thinking of this, he sucked in a breath of cold air. The 1-pound dark red dragon's expression also changed. Why do I feel like it's a bit like the mysterious organization of the Sandleaf martial arts? Kid, you'd better be careful. Let's return to the Immortal Palace and work together to prepare to open the nest of 10,000 dragons. We used a large number of natural treasures to open a door and teleport across continents. Boom! Boom! In the sky, mysterious patterns flickered, and Lin Xian and the dark red dragon disappeared. In the endless mountain range, on a grassland, a blue-clothed man looked at the flickering array with a gloomy expression. They had failed. An invincible king had led 10 top assassins to assassinate a holy son, yet they had failed. Could the Tao protector beside this kid be an invincible king? Interesting. It seemed that this guy wasn't much weaker than Yi Wudao. Since that's the case, don't blame me for being impolite. Speaking of this, the corners of his mouth curled up into a cold smile. Obviously, he had follow-up plans waiting for Lin Xian, Yi Wudao, and the other peerless geniuses. On the other side, Lin Xian and the dark red dragon returned to the immortal palace. They immediately gathered the chief guardian, Xing Tian, and the others to discuss. Then they contacted the Yi family, Gu family, Jade Lake, Purple Dawn, Grand Xia Dynasty, and Lanrua Temple. The 7 top families, holy lands, and dynasties joined forces to send a message to the true spirit world. The location of the nest of 10,000 dragons had been found. When this news came out, the world was in an uproar. At first, they were still suspicious, because this information was first released by Immortal Palace. However, the Yi family, Gu family, Jade Lake, Purple Cloud, Grand Xia Dynasty, Lanrua Temple, and other great sects all spoke out one after another. The entire true spirit world exploded. All of the holy lands, sects, and clans went crazy. The nest of 10,000 dragons actually appeared. Heavens, does the nest of 10,000 dragons really exist? I always thought that it was just a legend. The elders of the 4 symbols sacred grounds exclaimed. The nest of 10,000 dragons must contain an extremely powerful dragon vein. My Ninely dynasty must obtain it. The elders of the Ninely dynasty clenched their fists. That was the burial ground of dragons. The experts of the Demon King Palace were equally shocked. If they could enter and obtain the great divine abilities of dragons, or obtain the blood of dragons, they would be able to evolve and strengthen themselves. It was even possible for the demons to regain control of the entire world. At the thought of this, all the sacred grounds, sects of the remote antiquity, and peerless dynasties were stunned. For a moment, they were like the families of the 7 holy lands that made a statement, asking questions one after another. In fact, many people even came to visit. However, the headquarters of Immortal Palace was too mysterious. No one found it for a while. However, the 6 great sage lands and clans were surrounded by countless people. The entire world was in an uproar. In every city, on every street, all the cultivators were talking about this matter. The influence of this matter was even wider than the Yuhua immortal robe. It was even deeper. Just as everyone was excited, Immortal Palace's Lin Xian released another piece of important news. That was in a month's time, a grand event related to the nest of 10,000 dragons would be held at the Eastern Wasteland's Jade Lake. In the news, it was clearly stated that the great sage lands, great sects, and top families of the world were invited to come together. When this news came out, the world was in an uproar. Then, they were extremely excited. It seemed that the news about the nest of 10,000 dragons was absolutely true. Moreover, it wouldn't be long before these great sects of the Holy Lands made a move on the nest of 10,000 dragons. Ordinary cultivators were excited and shocked, but those great sects of the Holy Lands were shocked. Why was it Immortal Palace's announcement? Could it be that this news came from Immortal Palace? Thinking of this, they sucked in a breath of cold air. Previously, they originally thought that it was the Yi family who received the news, but now it seemed that it wasn't. It was Immortal Palace. This Immortal Palace was really too mysterious. They could actually obtain news about the nest of 10,000 dragons. Damn it, that kid's luck was too good. The Yinyang sect, Tai dynasty, and other great sects of the Holy Lands gritted their teeth. They had a grudge against Lin Xian. However, they couldn't care less. Even if they had a grudge, they still had to go, because the nest of 10,000 dragons was simply too attractive to them. Of course, there were also cultivators who were surprised by why the Immortal Palace would choose the Jade Lake. A powerhouse explained that it seemed that the Jade Lake Grand Event was about to arrive. This time, the 2 sides would probably gather together. What? Jade Lake Grand Event? You're saying that we have a chance to eat the Jade Lake's pan peach? Many people's eyes lit up, and they drooled. In addition to being powerful, the Jade Lake also had another thing that was very famous, and that was the Pan Peach. The peach of immortality of the Jade Lake was not ordinary. It was an extremely precious natural treasure. It was not an exaggeration to call it the peach of immortality. There were 3 types of peach of immortality. There were those that bloomed once every 300 years, those that bloomed once every 1,000 years, and those that bloomed once every 3,000 years. Counting the time, the Peach of Immortality grand event was really about to arrive. Moreover, this time, it seemed to be the Peach of Immortality that bloomed once every 3,000 years. Which powerhouses? The elders and living fossils also came out of seclusion one after another and rushed to the Jade Lake sacred ground. The Jade Lake held the Peach of Immortality banquet, waiting for the powerhouses of the world to gather. Let's get going too. On the other side, after Lin Xian sent out the news, he began to gather his troops and prepare to set off. This time, they only brought some protectors and elders with them. After all this time, it was a discussion, not a real battle. When it was time to take action, they would mobilize a large number of troops. A month's time passed very quickly. On this day, the Jade Lake of the Eastern Wilderness was like a paradise. The misty fog covered tens of thousands of miles, and it carried a crystal-clear light. This scene could only be seen in dreams. At this moment, there were countless powerhouses and geniuses gathered at the Jade Lake. It was truly a golden age. The elders and powerhouses of the great sage land had all arrived. The younger generation of saints and geniuses had also gathered. Among them, Yi Wudao had also come. After more than a month of recuperation, and with the help of the Yi family's methods, he had already recovered his strength. Not only that, but this time's pursuit had made his cultivation base even more refined, and his strength had increased once again. Chapter 2673. Apart from the saints of the Eastern Wilderness, the geniuses of the Central Continent, Northern Plains, Southern Mountains and Western Desert had all arrived. At this moment, they gathered together and discussed with each other. Some talked about martial arts, while others talked about the news of the nest of 10,000 dragons. In short, it was very lively. Immortal Palace had arrived. A voice came from afar. Immediately, the cultivators of the Jade Pool hurriedly went forward to welcome him. Inside, the powerhouses and saints from all over the world raised their eyes and looked forward when they heard this. Many people's eyes flickered, and some people's eyes were cold. Since Immortal Palace had arrived, that kid should be here too. What they were looking forward to the most was still Lin Xian. This was because the other party's reputation had long spread far and wide, and he was ranked as a top saint. Moreover, the other party's identity was the master of Immortal Palace. In addition, this time, the news of the nest of 10,000 dragons was provided by Immortal Palace. It could be said that thousands of gazes were gathered on Lin Xian. At this moment, this young man had become the center of the true spirit world. In front of them, a red-clothed figure floated over. Beside him was a dark red dragon. Beside him was a mighty man. Behind him was a group of elders and powerhouses. This group of people descended from the sky like immortal kings. The red-clothed youth at the front was naturally Lin Xian. He was dressed in a bright red robe. His face was handsome, and his black hair danced wildly. He really had the aura of a king descending to the world. "Brother Xian, you're here." Murong Qingqing led a group of elders to welcome him. Not long after, Queen Mother of the West came and invited Lin Xian in. This scene made everyone's eyes widen in shock. They couldn't believe it at all. They didn't expect Queen Mother of the West to personally welcome him. This kid was really extravagant. That's right, he could actually get Queen Mother of the West to personally welcome him. Damn it, he was only a holy son. How could he be treated like this? Some people gritted their teeth, while others snorted coldly. Don't forget, he was the master of Immortal Palace. Immortal Palace was not inferior to the great sects of the Holy Lands. He naturally received the treatment of a saint. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone fell silent. Indeed, they could no longer ignore Immortal Palace. Although the other party was young, his identity was indeed terrifying. Lin Xian sighed. He followed Queen Mother of the West and others into the main hall. He Yi, patriarch of the Yi family, the saint of the Purple Holy Land, abbot of the Lanrua Temple, and the emperor of the Great Xia dynasty. After these people Lin Xian, and Lin Xian He Lin. Firstly, the event hadn't officially started yet. Secondly, although he had a noble status, he was still a young man after all. He still liked to hang out with young holy sons. As for this place, let the Grand Elder and the others deal with it. Lin Xian quickly rushed out of the palace and turned into a streak of light, flying outside. Damn, why did this brat come out again? Everyone had different expressions when they saw Lin Xian come out. Quite a few people smiled and greeted him, including Flowerless and Leaf Daudinier. Gu Santong, the saintess of all beginnings, and the prince of the Great Xia dynasty also came over. Lin Xian greeted them and took out the best spirit wine he had brewed. Everyone gathered in the pavilion. Damn it, they couldn't help but want to fight him when they saw him. The people of Five Elements Palace, Yin-Yang sect, and Tai dynasty looked gloomy, especially their saints. Their eyes flickered. Among them, Five Elements Palace, Yin-Yang sect, and Nine Heavens Holy Land were all newly elected saints. Their original saints had been killed by Yi Yi. Therefore, these people did not have a good impression of Lin Xian. The Tai dynasty was divided into two factions. The eighth prince, who was now the crown prince, led his people to greet Lin Xian. They were quite friendly. Some of the people who belonged to the Empress faction gritted their teeth and wanted to kill Yi Yi. However, they did not dare to do so now. If they dared to make a move, they would be killed before they could even get out of the door. Even the chosens and geniuses sitting with Lin Xian weren't people they could afford to offend, let alone those powerhouses. This was because every single one of them was a top-notch saint. New saints like them were no match for them at all. Not only them, but the other saints and saintesses also looked over. Because the small group formed by Lin Xian was too strong. There were monarch clans, top holy lands, and the Zhongzhou dynasty, the Buddhist holy land in the western desert. It was absolutely shocking. Big brother Lin Xian. In the distance, a purple figure rushed over, making everyone exclaim, "So beautiful! Qiu, come here." Lin Xian smiled and waved. It was Shenjing Qiu, Saintess Xixia. She also came to Lin Xian's side, sat down happily, and tasted Lin Xian's wine. "Brother Wudao, your injuries are not serious, right?" After a few cups of wine, Lin Xian looked at Yi Wudao and asked with concern, "I'm fine. I've completely recovered. Also, I've profited from a disaster. My cultivation has improved. It's really enviable." No Flower, Gu Santong, and the others laughed at the side. The surrounding people sucked in a breath of cold air. How could there be such a monstrous existence in the world? He was hunted down and narrowly escaped death. Not only was he fine in the end, but his cultivation had also improved. It had to be said that it was truly shocking. Lin Xian was also extremely surprised. Then he had to congratulate Brother Yi. "Come, cheers. Brother Lin, you're too polite. This time, I should be the one toasting you." Yi Wudao stood up with a serious face. "If it weren't for you, I'm afraid I wouldn't be standing here. So with this cup, I would like to thank Brother Lin for saving my life." Everyone was shocked. They only knew that Yi Wudao had been hunted down, but they didn't know that it was Lin Xian who had saved Yi Wudao. It was completely shocking. Everyone was trying to guess what exactly had happened, but neither Leaf Daudinier nor Lin Xian were willing to say anything. Lin Xian also raised his cup. How could one cup be enough? "Come, let's drink 3 cups to our heart's content." With that, the two of them laughed loudly. There were flowers, wine, and beauties. The only thing missing was music. "I wonder if you'll let me have a drink." At that moment, a carefree voice came from the distance. Many people turned their heads to look at the source of the voice. The young geniuses were also puzzled. Who was this person? Why did he want to join Lin Xian and Yi Wudao's group? Did he have the qualifications to do so? It was him, the holy son of the Taishan Holy Land. Someone exclaimed. The newcomer was a handsome young man in a blue robe with mysterious stars twinkling on it. He carried a guqin on his back, and his black hair fluttered in the wind. He looked very carefree. He was like an immortal who had descended to the mortal world. His eyes were bright. So it was the Taishian Holy Sun. I've heard that Brother Yun's Guqin skills were unparalleled. I didn't expect to be able to feast my ears, Gu Santong said with a smile. Chapter 2674. These saints all moved aside to make room for the great abstruse saint. The great mystic saint did not stand on ceremony. After sitting down, he drank a few cups. Then his eyes lit up. Good wine. It is indeed a top-grade wine. Looks like I came to the right place. With that, he picked up the guqin on his back and started playing. The sound of the guqin was melodious, like the sound of flowing water. Everyone was mesmerized by it. Even Yi Wudao, No Flower, Gu Santong, and the others were astonished. Lin Xian was also shocked. He had heard No Flower play the guqin before. At that time, he had felt that No Flower's guqin was very mysterious. It seemed to contain Buddhist scriptures, which made people intoxicated. But now, when he heard the great mystic saint play the guqin again, he was even more amazed. Although there weren't any Buddhist scriptures in the sound of the zither, there was another mysterious power. This power was indescribable, mysterious. But it really existed. That was because Lin Xian could sense that Lin Xian's aura was extremely strong. What a magical guqin sound. The great mystic saint was indeed amazing. He was extremely surprised. In the eastern wilderness, the top few geniuses were Yi Wudao, the Alcate saint, and the divine constitution of the Gu family. He was rumored to be very mysterious, but he rarely came out, so no one knew who he was. However, this did not affect the divine constitution's reputation. In addition, people like Morong Qingqing and Shun Jingqiu were also famous. After all, the saintesses were peerless and beautiful. Naturally, they were sought after by countless people. However, although the great mystic saint was also a saint, he was not very outstanding. In fact, he was a very low-key person. Unexpectedly, the great mystic saint was indeed extraordinary. Not to mention his strength. Just his guqin skills alone were enough to make Lin Xian admire him. While Lin Xian was amazed, a loud voice came from afar. The war tribe had arrived. Hearing this voice, everyone turned their heads to look and began to discuss among themselves. The war tribe had indeed come out. That's right. Who would have thought that even the war race would come this time? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and gazed into the distance at the flickering powerful figures. The corners of his mouth curled into a cold smile. The battle race's elders were led into the main hall by the Jade Lake's elders to discuss matters. As for the battle race's young heavenly geniuses, they descended from the sky. Their bodies flickered with mysterious symbols, and their horns were lofty. Their auras were extremely powerful. And as soon as they descended, they looked down on everyone. Brother John, you're here. Seeing this scene, the Yin-Yang sect, Five Elements Palace, Nine Heavens Holy Ground, Tai Dynasty, and Tuoba family all reacted. The saints led their men and walked up to the platform. There was nothing they could do about it. They knew that the War Clan and Lin Xian were enemies that would not rest until one of them was dead. If they wanted revenge, perhaps they really did need to rely on the War Clan. Because of this, these people were very respectful and surrounded the geniuses from the war race. The battle race's geniuses all had proud expressions. They raised their chins, looking extremely arrogant. In just a moment, there were quite a few saint children and heavenly geniuses surrounding them. Although this lineup couldn't compare to Lin Xian's and Yi Wudao's small group, it was still very terrifying. In just a moment, countless gazes looked in that direction. What was going on? Those who didn't know better would think that the Jade Lake was his territory. That's right. What was there to be arrogant about? He wasn't the master of the holy ground. Hearing this, a battle race's genius turned his head. Two rays of light shot out from his eyes, like the divine light of the sun. Immediately, the two cultivators who had spoken were sent flying, vomiting large mouthfuls of blood. What are you doing? Do you want to die? The people from Illusion Palace stood up and roared. The Illusion Saint Child's expression also darkened. The other party dared to attack someone from Illusion Palace. How arrogant! On the other side, the people from Unfettered Sect were the same. One of their disciples had been injured just now. The unfettered saint child also walked over. What is the meaning of this? He asked coldly. The battle race's genius emitted a berserk aura. A blood-red light surrounded him like an ocean, causing the blood in one's body to churn. Bloodline power. This was the battle race's bloodline power. Oh my god. This person was too terrifying. The surrounding people quickly retreated. The unfettered saint child and the illusion saint child also frowned. They had to admit that the other party was a powerful enemy. However, the other party was too arrogant. Did he really think that the two of them from the great sage were easy to bully? You can't do it. You're not my match. Where's that Lin Xian? Tell him to get over here and die. His body emitted a bloodline light. The battle race's genius ignored the unfettered saint child and the illusion saint child. He placed his hands behind his back and looked up at the sky. He had a cold and arrogant expression. Hearing this, the surrounding people were in an uproar. The yin-yang saint child, 5 elements saint child, Jiuxiao Seiko, and the others all had cold smiles on their faces. That's great. The other party was indeed here for Lin Xian. They could see that the person in front of them was very powerful. His strength was even more terrifying. Thinking about it, they should be able to kill the other party. Even if they couldn't kill the other party, it would be good to severely injure him. After all, the battle race had sent many geniuses this time. If they went up one by one, they would definitely be able to kill the other party. However, the unfettered saint child and the illusion saint child were enraged when they heard this. The other party actually dared to look down on them. This was intolerable. They were the saints and the other geniuses. They stood at the peak of the younger generation. When had they ever been looked down upon like this? Kill! The unfettered saint child roared and took the initiative to attack. His speed was very fast. Like a flash of light, he instantly arrived near the battle race's genius. His powerful aura was like a vast ocean, causing the nearby martial artists to tremble. Retreat! The yin-yang saint child, 5 elements saint child, and the others all led their men and retreated, giving them enough space. The people from the battle race did not move, especially the battle race's genius at the front, who had his hands behind his back, did not move either. He looked at the unfettered saint child, his eyes shining with a terrifying light. The corners of his mouth even curled up into a disdainful smile. Do you really think you can fight against me? Zhang Changfeng laughed coldly. He stretched out a palm and directly grabbed in front of him. Wherever it passed, divine lightning rumbled and formed a terrifying palm of lightning. The void was instantly pierced through. The powerful energy caused everyone's expression to change. Even the saints and saintesses looked solemn. Humph! The unfettered saint child naturally felt a strong sense of threat. He snorted coldly. An endless light surrounded his body. Many feather-like things danced around him. Unfettered limitless fist. The energy in the unfettered saint child's body was also very strong. A terrifying killing intent circulated around him. He threw out a punch and evolved a supreme secret technique. Boom! 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 The two of them exchanged more than 10 blows. Then the unfettered saint child was forced back 7 to 8 steps. Zhang Changfeng stood there motionless. He looked at the other party and laughed coldly. The unfettered saint child was just SOSO. Chapter 2675. Saying this, a terrifying murderous intent burst out from his body and swept the 9 heavens. Everyone found it difficult to breathe. Heaven is so powerful. He actually defeated the unfettered saint. Yes, from the looks of it, it was just a casual attack. He did not use his full strength at all. Damn it! The unfettered saint was so angry that his face turned green. He stabilized his chi and blood and wanted to attack again. But at this time, the illusion saint made his move. Brother unfettered, let me do it. In the blink of an eye, he produced millions of clones and afterimages, covering the sky and covering the earth. They were so densely packed that no one could tell which was the real one. Countless clones surrounded Zhang Changfeng. Impudent! Lightning god heavenly palm. Zhang Changfeng sneered. Endless lightning filled his body, forming the shadow of a lightning god. He slammed his palm down. This was no ordinary lightning. He had cultivated it with the power of his bloodline. The lightning god Heavenly Palm and the lightning god Heavenly Palm were the war tribe's unique skills. They were extremely violent. As expected, all the clones in the sky were destroyed in an instant. The illusion destruction Saint Sun was also blasted back, smashing through the void. His face was pale, and his eyes flickered with a cold light. Zhang Chongfeng snorted. I have said that the two of you are no match for me. Get lost. I won't kill you. Where is that Lin Xian? Tell him to get over here and die. The scene was silent. Everyone was shocked, scared, and horrified. The two sons of the great sage were forced back by the other party. This showed that Zhang Changfeng's strength was absolutely terrifying. He was at least at the level of a top-tier saint. Moreover, the other party had not used his full strength yet. They did not know how powerful he was. At the same time, they were even more shocked that the other party had threatened to kill Lin Xian. If this was in the past, they would have thought that Lin Xian was dead meat. But it was different now. What kind of person was Lin Xian? He had killed many saints, and was a top-tier prodigy. Moreover, his status was noble. When he came, the Queen Mother of the West personally welcomed him. It could be said that he was a young prodigy, who was the center of attention. Some people even thought that he was not inferior to top-tier prodigies like the Alcade Saint and Yi Wudao. Now someone had provoked him. This made everyone excited and even expectant. The people from the war race were truly abominable. Shen Jingqiu coldly snorted. Her small face was ice cold. The other party actually dared to find trouble with her big brother Lin Xian. Gu Santong no flower, and the others all frowned. Li Fudao asked, Brother Lin, do you need my help? Have you finished him off? There was no need for that. He was just a clown. Just ignore him. Lin Xian shook his head. He had no intention of making a move. What did you say? Who are you calling a clown? Do you want to die? When Zhang Changfeng heard this, he immediately became angry. He turned around and took a step forward. The thunder god projection on his body roared. The rumbling sound of thunder resounded in all directions, scaring the surrounding people so much that their scalps went numb. Many people directly knelt on the ground. Morong Qingcheng's face turned ice cold when she saw this. However, she did not stop them. Instead, she waved her hand and activated the formation. It surrounded the surroundings and prevented others from getting hurt. These formations were set up long ago, because they knew that there would definitely be people from the younger generation who would spar and fight with each other. Therefore, when such things happened, they did not stop them. They just activated the formation and watched from the side. Morong Qingqing was not worried about Lin Xian, because she trusted Lin Xian. She knew how strong Lin Xian was. Seeing the formation activated, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Zhang Changfeng's cold eyes stared at Lin Xian. Kid, who are you calling an ant? Why? Don't you have any self-awareness? Of course I'm talking about you. Lin Xian sat there, swirling his wine glass and glancing at Zhang Changfeng. He looked very casual. He did not put Zhang Changfeng in his eyes. Courting death. Zhang Changfeng was furious. He had easily defeated the two sons of the great sage and gained the upper hand. He had become an unparalleled figure. He was in high spirits and wanted to kill Lin Xian in one fell swoop. However, Lin Xian actually said that he was an ant? Not worth mentioning. How could he tolerate this? In the next moment, he pointed at Lin Xian. Get over here and fight me to the death. You're definitely not my match. You think too highly of yourself. Fight you to the death. You're not worthy of being my match. Lin Xian shook his head and ignored him. Everyone was taken aback by this scene. They did not expect Lin Xian to not fight at all. In the distance, the people from the Yin-Yang sect, 5-element palace, and 9 firmament sacred emperor's land frowned. Among them, the martial artists from the sacred grounds sneered. What do you mean by disdain? I think you don't dare to fight at all. That's right. Who do you think you are? How dare you compare yourself to the prodigy Zhang Changfeng? These people sneered, thinking that Lin Xian was afraid. As expected, the other martial artists from the sacred grounds began to talk among themselves. The people from the war tribe were even more proud. Kid, you don't dare to fight. Just kneel and kowtow. We can give you a quick death. Zhang Changfeng also laughed. So you're a coward. You don't dare to fight. I really don't know what despicable means you used to kill the war concubine and the Golden Lion King. I don't dare to fight? What a joke. Lin Xian sneered. I killed the 4 war kings with my own hands. Do you think I don't dare to fight? You're just trash. You're not worthy of my fight. His voice was light as a feather, but in everyone's ears, it was like a sudden clap of thunder, exploding. What? The 4 war kings of the war tribe were killed by him? Heavens, it can't be. When did this happen? Why don't I know about it? This kid wouldn't be lying, right? The crowd discussed. Indeed, the people from the Yin-Yang sect and 5-element palace sneered. What a joke. Who do you think you are? How dare you kill the 4 war kings? However, as soon as they finished speaking, they realized that something was wrong. The people from the war tribe had ugly looks on their faces. Damn it, it's you. You're the one who killed our 4 war kings. Brat, I don't know how many elders you used, as well as your immortal palace's backing, to kill us 4 great war kings. But in a one-on-one fight, you're no match for the 4 war kings. Today you'll take revenge. I'll let everyone know that you're just an ant. You dare to offend our war tribe? You're dead. The people from the war tribe roared crazily. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. What? The 4 war kings were really killed? Heavens, this is really shocking news. Lin Xian shook his head. Sigh, why are there so many self-righteous and reckless idiots in this world? Only when you're killed do you realize how pitifully weak you are. Chapter 2676. Stand up and fight. Zhan Changfeng's body emitted lightning. Lin Xian laughed. No need. I can still beat you even if I give you a handicap of my legs. You're courting death. I'll grant you your wish. Zhan Changfeng was really angry. He turned into a bolt of lightning and instantly appeared in front of Lin Xian. Endless lightning wrapped around his palm. Then he grabbed Lin Xian's head with his palm. Kid, I'll make you kneel and wait for your death. Zhan Changfeng revealed a sinister expression. Yes, that's right. He wanted Lin Xian to kneel in front of him, in front of all the elites in the world. He wanted Lin Xian to suffer a crushing defeat. He would lose face. Many people understood Zhan Changfeng's intention and immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. How cruel! Not only did he want to kill Lin Xian, but he also wanted to torture him to death. However, whether Zhan Changfeng could kill Lin Xian was another matter. Yi Wudao Gu Santong, No Flower, and the others sat there and frowned. Countless runes flashed on their bodies. Their king's domains lingered around and blocked the terrifying lightning. Lin Xian was the first to bear the brunt of the attack, but he was not afraid. In the next moment, he turned his head and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He stretched out his palm and grabbed Zhan Changfeng's lightning palm. Pung pung. The two collided, and the void was torn apart. A powerful force swept out in all directions. Fortunately, those around Lin Xian were all elites. The impact of this energy was not too dangerous for them, so they easily neutralized it. However, the other cultivators were not so lucky. They all activated their defenses and battle armors to resist with all their might. Just as they retreated to a safe distance, they exclaimed because they saw a figure in front of them being pushed back. Was Lin Xian pushed back? They looked over carefully. No, it was not Lin Xian. It was the genius of the battle lord. When they saw that it was the genius of the battle tribe, Zhan Changfeng, who was pushed back, they exclaimed. The people of the battle tribe screamed. Impossible! The eyelids of the people of the Yin-Yang sect, 5-element palace, and 9 firmament sacred ground twitched. Bang bang bang, after retreating 5 steps, Zhan Changfeng finally stopped. His face was extremely gloomy, and his eyes emitted a blood-red glow. His entire body was trembling with anger. He was pushed back. He was actually pushed back in the exchange of blows with his opponent. How could he bear this? The other party was just sitting there nonchalantly, yet he was actually able to knock him back with just a casual strike. This was a slap to his face. The surrounding people swallowed their saliva. Why did this scene seem so familiar? Not long ago, Zhan Changfeng had defeated the unfettered Saint Sun and the illusion Mia Saint Sun with such a powerful and condescending attitude. But now this was actually happening to Zhan Changfeng. With an even more disdainful attitude, Lin Xian pushed Zhang Changfeng back with a palm strike. This Lin Xian was too strong. His strength had definitely increased again. The holy sons and holy daughters were shocked. No Flower, Gu Santong, and the others were also shocked. Yi Wudao also laughed. It seemed that Brother Lin's strength had also improved a lot. No, at this cultivation level, the improvement was very slow. It was just that the other party was more useless. Lin Xian shrugged and drank another cup of wine. When Zhang Changfeng heard this, he was so angry that he vomited blood. In the distance, the people of the Unfettered Sect and the Illusion Mia Palace were excited. The Unfettered Saint's son snorted coldly. Indeed, he would have to pay for what he had done. The Illusion Mia Saint sneered. I want to see how this Zhang Changfeng is going to end this. The two of them were in a good mood now. Previously, they were provoked and humiliated by the other party. This made them go crazy, but they did not expect that in the blink of an eye, the other party would be looked down upon by the even more powerful Lin Xian. This made them feel as if they had taken revenge. Zhang Changfeng's handsome face became extremely distorted. He stared at Lin Xian. Brat, you are courting death. Buzz, the thunder god's shadow roared to the sky. His palms turned into two thunder hammers and quickly attacked. In an instant, Lin Xian was enveloped. Lin Xian snorted coldly and waved his fists. Thousands of fist shadows appeared in the sky. He used the heaven-battling divine fist. Together with the 9-yang divine body, its power was extremely terrifying. The two ultimate techniques collided in the sky, becoming illusory and indeterminable. Black holes rose up one after another, shocking everyone who saw this. The faces of the battle master and the others became more and more ugly. Zhang Changfeng gritted his teeth and roared. Heaven battling divine fist. Damn it, how can you counter my battle tribe's mystique? He was going crazy. Not only was the other party powerful, but he also used his battle tribe's ultimate skill. When the others heard this, they were also stunned. What's going on? Could it be that Lin Xian's ultimate skill was the battle tribe's ultimate skill? Isn't this too unbelievable? Such an ultimate skill is really a waste in your hands. Of course I have to take it and use it to make it shine. Lin Xian snorted coldly. In the next moment he stood up. An extremely terrifying aura erupted. It was as if a peerless immortal king had awakened. Everyone felt their bodies tense up. They couldn't even breathe. In fact, even the Chosens were shocked. You really don't interest me. So now it's over. Lin Xian stretched out a large palm and slapped forward. Zhang Changfeng snorted coldly and activated the thunder god's shadow to resist. At the same time, his main body received the 5 thunder avatar. In that instant, he unleashed another great divine ability. Buzz buzz buzz. 5 colored lightning rushed out of his body. Each one turned into a lightning avatar and attacked Lin Xian. This scene was very sudden and very fast. It could be said that it was impossible to guard against. Not good, that kid is in danger. Seeing this scene, the eyelids of the elites twitched wildly. The saints were even more shocked. With such timing and speed, it would be difficult for the other party to dodge. Boom boom boom. Lin Xian didn't dodge. The 5 thunder gods' avatars all landed on him. Suddenly, an earth-shattering explosion rang out. Lightning filled the sky. The place where he was turned into a sea of lightning. An apocalyptic energy roared nonstop. Ha 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 ha. Seeing this scene, the war tribe's martial artists all laughed. The Yin-Yang sect, 5 Elements Palace, and 9 Heavens Sacred Ground all laughed sinisterly. Let's see how this kid dies. The 5 thunder gods' avatars contained terrifying energy. Even the saints and saintesses were frightened. If he was hit directly, even if he didn't die, he would be seriously injured. As long as Lin Xian was seriously injured, the rest would be easy. Zhang Changfeng would definitely kill him. The others were also discussing. No Flower, Gu Santong, Yi Wudao, and the others all frowned. Shen Jingqiu and Morong Qingqing were even more worried. They even wanted to help. However, the dark red divine dragon shook his tail and said, "Don't be so excited. It's just a small attack. It won't hurt this kid." He had always been by Lin Xian's side. Naturally, he knew how terrifying Lin Xian's 9-yang divine body was. Chapter 2677. Lightning surged on Zhang Yuan's body, and the shadow of the thunder god circled behind him. He shattered the fist shadows, and then looked at the sea of lightning in front of him with a smug smile. Reckless brat. Do you think that you can contend against me with just your ability? You're too naive. Today, I'll see how you die. He was very confident in his attack. He estimated that Zhang Wuhan would definitely be seriously injured, and very likely lose half his life. Next, he would be able to kill him. You're very confident in your attack, aren't you? But I'm sorry to disappoint you. A calm voice came from the sea of lightning in front of him. Then, the sea of lightning was torn apart by a ray of sword light. Then Lin Xian walked out. He was wearing a bright red robe and had a handsome face. He didn't seem to be injured at all. As Lin Xian walked out, everyone's hearts raced. When they saw Lin Xian's condition, they went crazy. Heavens! What's going on? He's fine. He's not injured. How is this possible? It can't be an illusion, right? The saints and saintesses were shocked. They used all kinds of secret soul techniques to investigate. However, when they realized that Lin Xian really wasn't injured, these saints and saintesses were dumbfounded. What's going on? They couldn't understand. Defense, what a strong defense. How can this kid's defense be so strong? Finally, a powerhouse screamed. Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu breathed a sigh of relief. No Flower, Gu Santong, the great Xia prince, and the others were shocked. Yi Wudao also looked serious. He knew that Lin Xian couldn't have been injured, but he didn't expect Lin Xian to block it in such a way. In his opinion, Lin Xian should have used a strong sword qi to break the 5 lightning doppelganger, not a strong defense. The Taishan sage sat there with a smile on his face. However, his eyes were fixed on Lin Xian like the stars in the sky being extinguished. He wanted to see through him. Impossible. How could you not be injured? Zhang Chongfeng screamed as if he had seen a ghost. He knew how terrifying the 5 thunder doppelganger was. If it bombarded those saints and saintesses, it could definitely destroy half of their lives. Furthermore, all 5 of his clones had been hit. This was definitely the result of serious injuries. In the worst-case scenario, he might even lose his life. However, not only was the other party not seriously injured, he wasn't injured at all. This made him suspect that his 5 lightning clones did not hit his opponent at all. What 5 lightning doppelganger? It's just 5 water lightning. Do you really think you can hurt me? Lin Xian stopped smiling. I said it's over now. He took a step forward, and his 9 young divine body erupted. Mysterious runes appeared on his body one after another, and a terrifying fist blasted out. The heaven-battling divine fist shook the heavens and earth. Lin Xian used one of the ultimate moves of the heaven-battling godly fist. His fist seemed to have turned into an incomparable sun that soared into the sky. Damn it, block for me. Zhang Chongfeng used the thunder god's shadow to fight back. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out, and the heavens fell and the earth cracked. The thunder god's shadow was penetrated, and a terrifying crack appeared. With a boom, the mysterious thunder god's shadow exploded, turning into a sky full of lightning that pierced through the void. Zhang Chongfeng spat out mouthfuls of blood and kept retreating. His blood pierced through the ground and dyed the void red. The battle robe on his body was bright red, and it emitted a monstrous bloody smell. So powerful. What a violent fist. How could this kid have such a powerful fist technique? Wasn't he a swordsman? At this moment, the saints and saintesses were all shocked. The experts and elders were also shocked. No Flower, Gu Santong, the great Xia prince, and the others all stood up and looked at this scene in disbelief. Yi Wudao's expression was even more serious. He stared at Lin Xian's body. What a strong physique. What he cared about was not Lin Xian's combat strength, but the flashing runes on Lin Xian's body. It was obvious that this was a very powerful body refining technique. He felt that his saint body was reacting. Even the blood in his body was tumbling. This made him extremely shocked. One had to know that what could trigger his saint Boda's reaction was definitely an unparalleled physique. He didn't have it before, but he didn't expect that in just a few years, his opponent would have such a physique. So strong. What kind of body refining technique was this? Was it the Immortal Palace's supreme ability? Yi Wudao was surprised. He knew that Lin Xian didn't have such a powerful bloodline. It must be an unparalleled body refining technique that could cause this scene. Brother Lin was really too shocking. No Flower and Gu Santong also smiled bitterly. What a strong physique! The great Xia Prince exclaimed. The great mystery saint's eyes shone with a shocking light. Obviously, this scene was also beyond his expectations. At this moment, his heart was in great turmoil. As expected of the Immortal Palace's master, a peerless genius. Looks like I have to re-evaluate him. The great mystery prince was shocked. Xin Jingqiu, on the other hand, clapped her hands happily. Wow, big brother Lin Xian is so amazing. He's much more powerful than before. Not only her, but Morong Qingchen, who was standing on the side, also revealed a smile. Among them, the dark red divine dragon was the calmest. This was because he already knew that this would be the result. At this moment he smiled like an old monster. Ha 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 ha, shocked. Tremble. It'll let you know how powerful the Nine-Yang divine body is. On the other side, the Yin-Yang sect, Five Elements Palace, Nine Heavens Sacred Ground, and Tai Dynasty all had pale faces. This scene also shocked them. They didn't even dare to mock Lin Xian anymore. All of them were stunned. Their bodies were trembling. The people of the war tribe were screaming crazily. Damn it, how could this be? How could this kid be so strong? Zhan Changfeng roared into the sky. His body was covered in blood, and his black hair was dyed red. It danced in the wind. The aura on his body suddenly exploded. The power of his bloodline was unleashed to the extreme. A terrifying aura spread out, and the shadow of the thunder god behind him quickly condensed again. But this time it was different. A blood-red armor appeared on his body, and he was holding a blood-red long saber. Obviously, this was the result of the power of his bloodline. The shadow of the thunder god wasn't just his attack. It was also his king's domain. Now that it was fully unleashed, its power was much stronger than before. Kid, I didn't want to reveal my trump card before. But now you can die peacefully. He was furious. He wanted to kill Lin Xian at all costs. How terrifying. Zhan Changfeng didn't use his full strength before. This was the power of his bloodline. The bloodline of the war tribe was extremely terrifying. And it was rumored that the more he fought, the stronger he became. Zhan Changfeng was definitely terrifying. That's right, the war race was too strong. However, that Lin Xian was even more terrifying. I wonder if Zhan Changfeng could defeat Lin Xian. I don't think so. But that might not be the case. Everyone was discussing. At this moment, they didn't think highly of Zhan Changfeng. This made Zhan Changfeng so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. Chapter 2678. Looking at this scene, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Do you think that you can be arrogant in front of me just because you have the power of bloodline? He pulled out the ancient dragon abyss sword and unlocked the 6 seals on it. That's not how you should use lightning. Let me show you what real lightning is. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light. Suddenly, sparks of lightning appeared on the ancient dragon source sword. In the next moment he used the 9-fold lightning sword. Roar with a slash, 3 lightning dragons rushed out from the sword wind, bearing their fangs and claws. Each of them was extremely terrifying, as if they were real. They charged forward, carrying astonishing lightning with them. The terrifying lightning dragons carried the power of lightning, and their explosion was earth-shattering. The god of lightning's projection was wearing a blood-red armor and holding a blood-red saber. It swept through everything, but the 3 lightning dragons were too terrifying. In the end, they tore the god of lightning's projection apart. Everyone was astonished by what they saw. Heavens, this kid's lightning sword technique is so terrifying. He's insane. He's not human. The war tribe actually lost. I already said that this kid is a peerless swordsman. How can he not use his sword technique? His sword technique is even more terrifying than before. They already knew that Lin Xian was a peerless swordsman, and they were looking forward to seeing Lin Xian use his sword. Indeed, with the slash of his sword, Zhan Changfeng's trump card was instantly broken. Many elites screamed in excitement, because they had nothing to do with either side. They just wanted to watch an exciting battle. Now Lin Xian's sword technique had completely stunned them. Puff! Zhang Changfeng spat out blood and flew out. His robe was torn, and there was a terrifying sword wound. His body was almost split in half. Blood spurted out and dyed the sky red. Changfeng. When the elites of the war tribe saw this, they could no longer hold it in. They hurried forward and brought Zhang Changfeng back. Then they treated his injuries. Many elites of the war tribe stared at Lin Xian with bloodshot eyes. Ah, damn kid. You're courting death. I'm going to kill you. I'm afraid you don't have that ability. Get out of here. Lin Xian coldly shouted. The three thunder dragons roared together in the sky. The terrifying sound waves caused the battle race martial artists to continuously retreat. Their expressions were ugly, and the others were amazed. He was too powerful. Although Lin Xian was young, he still displayed the demeanor of a generation's overlord. His future achievements would be limitless. Just you wait, don't be arrogant. The number one person of our battle clan's younger generation didn't come, but he would be here soon. At that time, he will personally take your life. The war race's martial artists roared madly. The others were shocked and their eyelids twitched. What? The number one person of the war race's younger generation? Wasn't this title a little too terrifying? The war race was born for battle. They were an ancient race that was extremely terrifying. Every one of them was extremely powerful. Previously, there was Zhang Ji the Golden Lion King, and other prodigies. Now there was Zhang Changfeng. Although they had lost to Lin Xian, each and every one of them was extremely terrifying. However, they weren't the war race's number one. Just who was this number one person of the war clan? How terrifying was that? In an instant, everyone was filled with anticipation. Lin Xian also squinted his eyes. The number one person of the war race's younger generation? The name sounded quite frightening, but he was not afraid. So what if he was the number one person? Number one person? I'm looking forward to his arrival. Lin Xian's lips curled into a confident smile. Kid, just you wait. You're dead meat. The war race's martial artists left with Zhang Changfeng after saying those harsh words. The others were discussing. On one hand, they were shocked by Lin Xian's strength, and on the other hand, they were guessing. Who was this number one person of the war race? How strong was he? Brother Lin, be careful. The war race has been passed down since ancient times, and their foundation is terrifying. The number one person of their family's younger generation must be terrifying. Gu Santong reminded. Lin Xian nodded as well. After that, everyone sat down and chatted, discussing martial arts and Tao. During this time, the Taishan sage was playing the zither. However, his gaze was extremely deep, and he even looked at Lin Xian from time to time. No one knew what he was thinking. At this moment, Jade Lake was very lively, but there was still some time before the real opening. During this time, various powerful martial artists would come from time to time. Firstly, they wanted to know about the nest of 10,000 dragons. Secondly, they wanted to participate in the Feast of Peaches. Anyone who came would be given a peach. Of course, ordinary martial artists would be given a spiritual peach. Only the saints and saintesses, as well as those extremely powerful martial artists, would be able to get a real peach. However, even spiritual peaches were far more valuable than those in the outside world. Eating one would increase the strength of these martial artists. This was a huge temptation. In the next few days, Lin Xian sparred with Yi Wudao and the others from time to time. He also accompanied Shen Jingqiu and Morong Qingcheng. Of course, he spent more time with Shen Jingqiu because Morong Qingcheng, as the Jade Lake Saintess, had many things to do. Most of the young martial artists who came were in charge of receiving them. The people from Demon Emperor Lightning were here. In the distance, a group of powerful figures landed, immediately attracting the attention of many people. Countless people gathered in front of them. The people from Demon Emperor Palace are here too? Why do I feel that there are many real demons among them? They were extremely shocked. Lin Xian and Shen Jingqiu also came nearby and looked forward. Lin Xian was also surprised. They saw a few very powerful figures. The demonic qi in their bodies was very terrifying. The one leading the way was still Hua Tiandu. Beside him, Yin Ruyu, who was dressed in snow-white clothes, had also arrived. Come follow me. Lin Xian saw Yin Ruyu and smiled. He was about to go up. The The 1 pound Xinjingqiu pouted. Big brother Lin Xian, do you like that demonic woman? Why is my little Qiu'er jealous? Lin Xian smiled and pinched Xinjingqiu's nose. Yes, Xinjingqiu was angry. Lin Xian pinched her little face. Don't worry, Qiu'er. You will always be the most special in my heart. Really? Xinjingqiu was happy. Her eyes narrowed into crescents as she happily followed behind Lin Xian. Lin Xian rose into the air and flew forward. Fairy Yan, we meet again. Young Master Lin, long time no see. Yin Ryu also smiled. This smile stunned all the surrounding martialists. Hua Tianda's face was gloomy. He was so angry that he gritted his teeth. Damn, why is this kid here again? He's really haunting me. The experts from Demon Emperor Palace behind him also had gloomy expressions. They all stared at Lin Xian. Despicable human. Don't you dare have any ideas about Fairy Yan. That's right, get lost. Lin Xian, on the other hand, ignored all of these people. His face was as beautiful as jade. Fairy Yan, there will be a tea party later. I invited Yi Wudao and the other young geniuses to discuss martial arts. Chapter 2679. Hearing this, Yin Ryu was also interested. After all, it was very good to be able to exchange cultivation experiences with these young top geniuses. Naturally, she was interested. She said with a smile. Hua Tianda's face darkened. Damn it, he wasn't invited. He looked at the human kid in front of him and wanted to kick him away. Alright, then I'll wait for Fairy Yan. Lin Xian smiled and waved his hand, then left the sky with Xinjingqiu. Damn it, he's too arrogant. I really want to slap him to death. Don't be impulsive, he's not simple. He's killed several bodies, his strength is definitely terrifying. There were also experts who had solemn expressions, thinking that they shouldn't be impulsive. After the others heard this, their eyelids twitched. Damn it, he's not too arrogant, and he's so strong. But Fairy Yan, are you really going? That little one is obviously interested in you. Yes, he's plotting something against you. Many young geniuses hurriedly tried to persuade her. Yin Ryu was the goddess of their dreams, and they were still fighting among themselves. How could they allow an outsider to compete with them? Yin Ryu smiled. Don't misunderstand, it's just a martial arts tea party. Little Qing, let's go down for a walk. Speaking of this, Yin Ryu said to the little maid beside her. The little maid nodded and followed behind Yin Ryu. Seeing Yin Ryu fly down with the little maid, the other geniuses sighed. Of course, there were also some experts whose eyes flickered. They came behind Hua Tiandu and asked in a deep voice. Saint, what do you plan to do? Actually, in my opinion, you should let the old sacred leader come out and grant a marriage. It's best for you and Yin Ryu to be husband and wife. I think so too. But my grandfather didn't say anything at all. What do you want me to do? Hua Tianda's face darkened. At this moment, an old man beside him said, We can't be impulsive in this matter. Her identity is too shocking. If we force it, it might make things worse. Another old man also stood out. To be honest, I don't think it's possible for them to get married. However, as long as she's on our side, it's already very beneficial to our Demon Lord Palace. Hearing this, Hua Tiandu was extremely unwilling. Indeed, the other party's identity was frighteningly high. Not to mention him, even his grandfather, the old holy master of the Demon Imperial Palace, did not dare to do anything to him. Therefore, there was no need to think about using force. He could only rely on his own charm to win her over. However, this path was simply too difficult. He had never seen any genius that could catch the eye of the other party. The elders of the Demon Imperial Palace were afraid that Hua Tiandu would be impulsive, so they hurriedly warned him again. Tiandu, you must not anger Ryu, and you must not even go against her. Whatever decision she makes, it's up to her. You mustn't interfere. Indeed, her awakening was becoming more and more powerful. If she fully awakened, then countless demon kings would kneel at her feet. Some of the ancient great demons had to be used by her. Therefore, he must not provoke her. I know. Hua Tiandu clenched his teeth, extremely unhappy. At this moment, a middle-aged man on the side said, Holy Son, we don't dare to anger Fairy Yan, but that doesn't mean we can let that brat go. Isn't he discussing martial arts? Let's send a few geniuses over to spar with him. Let them know the power of the Demon Imperial Palace. Yes, it's best if we can teach that brat a lesson. That brat is too powerful. Even I don't have 100% confidence in winning. Huatianda's expression was grave. Indeed, he had seen the strength of the other party. Moreover, he had heard that 2 days ago, the other party had injured the war race's genius in public. He was extremely domineering. We also heard about the matter. Actually, we don't need to do anything. He's dead for sure. The war race's #1 genius will arrive soon. That brat definitely won't live. I feel that we can join forces with the war race. Although the war race's #1 genius hasn't come yet, the celestial race's little sky king has come. Are you talking about the celestial race's peerless genius, Little Sky King? He actually came too. That's right, he came. Little Sky King has always been arrogant, and he has a good relationship with the war race. As long as we contact the war race in Sao Discord, we can definitely make Little Sky King take action. With Little Sky King's strength, it's very easy to defeat that guy. Hearing this, Huatianda's eyes lit up. Alright, let's do that. The other elders of the Demon Imperial Palace didn't stop him. After all, they were afraid of Yin Ruyu, not Lin Xian from the Immortal Palace. They felt that it was necessary to suppress him. Soon, Huatiandu led a few geniuses to the war race's location for a secret discussion. On the other side, at the Lake Paradise, this was the place that Lin Xian had chosen to hold the martial tea gathering. With Morong Qingqing there, this place was quickly taken over by them. Not only that, Morong Qingqing even called some of the Jade Lake's maids over. Soon, all kinds of spirit fruits and spirit tea were placed on the table. In the distance, countless figures also left. There were Yi Wudao, No Flower, and the others. There were also some saints. Although Lin Xian didn't invite them, they also heard the news and came over. After all, it was an extremely rare opportunity to have an exchange with top geniuses like Yi Wudao. Lin Xian didn't refuse the saints and saintesses who came, because he was confident that he could control the situation. Therefore, even if there were some who had a grudge against him, or wanted to cause trouble, Lin Xian didn't invite them. It didn't matter if they had such intentions, but if they dared to cause trouble, he would definitely suppress them. This place was indeed very lively. 2 figures floated over from the distance. One of them was dressed in snow-white clothes like a beautiful fairy. Behind her was a maid in green. The moment these two appeared, they attracted everyone's attention. So beautiful. It was Yen Ruyu from the Demon Imperial Palace. She actually came down. Cries of surprise rang out. The saints' eyes flickered with excitement. The saintesses looked as if they were facing a great enemy. Because the other party was too beautiful, they felt endless pressure. Young Master Lin, I'm not too late, right? After Yen Ruyu landed, she looked at Lin Xian. This scene made many saints speechless. Damn, what's wrong with this Lin Xian? How could he attract such a peerless beauty? He already had the Jade Lake Saintess and Zixia Saintess by his side. Now even Yen Ruyu favored him. This made everyone confused. What was going on? You're not too late. It hasn't started yet, Lin Xian said with a smile. At this moment, Morong Qingqing also stood up. Fairy Yen, please take a seat. Yen Ruyu smiled. She had long heard that the Jade Lake Saintess was unparalleled in beauty. Now that she saw her today, she really lived up to her reputation. Fairy Yen is too polite. Fairy Yen is peerless. Her ethereal and elegant temperament is rare in the world. Chapter 2680. Sister Qingqing, you can do it. Shen Jingqiu cheered from the side. Yen Ruyu looked over and looked at Shen Jingqiu. She had long heard that Saint Zixia of Zixia Holy Land was one of the Oriental Pearls. Now that she had seen her, she was indeed more beautiful than the rumors. Was she? No way. Hearing this, Shen Jingqiu's little face blushed. She was very happy. Lin Xian looked at this scene, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. It seemed that this little girl's combat strength was still a little lacking. Alright, everyone take a seat. Lin Xian stood up and waved his hand. If this continued, who knew what would happen? However, what he was worried about really happened. because Morong Qingqing did not return to her seat. Instead, she continued to speak. Fairy Yen, why don't we have a spar first? Sure, I also want to experience Jade Lake's unique skills. As soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned at first. Then there was an uproar. They were all extremely excited, as if they had been injected with chicken blood. What's going on? Two peerless beauties are actually going to fight. God, why do I feel that they are fighting over a man's favor? Impossible. That kid definitely does not have such charm. It must be that the battle between these two peerless beauties has nothing to do with that kid. Everyone shouted crazily. However, no matter what, they were able to see the battle between two peerless beauties. This was definitely not a wasted trip. In an instant, more and more cultivators appeared in the surroundings. Fairy Yen, please. Morong Qingqing stretched out her jade-like hand and made an inviting gesture. Yen Ryu nodded. Her figure flashed, and she came to the center of the field. Lin Xian was stunned. What's going on between the two of them? Why are they going to spar after a few words? He sighed helplessly and rubbed his face. The dark red dragon at the side had a smirk on his face. Kid, now you know the consequences of having too many women. Hearing this, Lin Xian was speechless. Shen Jingqiu at the side clenched her fists. Sister Qingqing, you can do it. The eyes of the other saints and saintesses also flickered. The cultivators of the Holy Land were even more excited. In the pavilion of the rockery in the distance, the people of Demon Imperial Palace also looked over. Everyone was discussing Liang Nu, who was stronger. However, as they discussed, they realized that they really couldn't guess the outcome until they saw it. Little sister Qingqing, I'm going to make a move now. Yen Ryu twirled her hair and gently blew on it. Suddenly, a green light turned into a mysterious rune in the sky and pressed forward. The cyan runes grew bigger and bigger, and finally turned into a cyan mountain. It instantly arrived in front of Morong Qingqing, wanting to suppress her. How terrifying! What a powerful divine ability! Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. A wisp of aura was able to create such a terrifying scene. This Yen Ryu was much stronger than they had imagined. She was definitely a top-tier saintess. Elder sister, you're really good at scheming. Since that's the case, I won't be polite either. Morong Qingqing waved her hand. Beside her, countless petals danced in the air, forming a flying flower slash that slashed towards the green mountain. With a kung chong sound, the two collided, causing heaven and earth to collapse. Countless cracks spread out. The surrounding artificial mountains, pavilions, and the ground flickered with runes, blocking all of the energy attacks. This made everyone feel a lot more at ease. Otherwise, just the energy shockwaves from this battle would have killed many people. Now that their lives were no longer in danger, everyone carefully observed. The more they watched, the more shocked they were. Although the two women spoke politely, their attacks were not careless at all. Every strike left everyone in shock. In addition to being speechless, Lin Xian was also shocked. Because he had never seen Yen Ryu attack before, he was extremely shocked after seeing it. Yen Ryu definitely had a terrifying divine ability. Moreover, he couldn't tell which sect she was from. What shocked him even more was that Yen Ryu couldn't see any shadow of Zhao Shui from before at all. The previous Zhao Shui was proficient in using eye techniques, especially the Void Sky Eye, which was incomparably mysterious. But now, Yen Ryu's divine ability was completely different from before. It seemed to belong to another school. What was going on? Was she really Zhao Shui from before? Lin Xian was a little doubtful now. Yi Wudao, No Flower, Gu Santong, and the others were also shocked. In the distance, the Yin Yang Saint, the four symbols Saint Seiko Dian, the Alcate Saintess, and the others were also shocked. Because the techniques and divine abilities of the two peerless beauties in front of them were too shocking. Beams of dazzling light and mysterious runes crisscrossed the sky. Each of them could easily pierce through a peerless almighty. The two exchanged more than 100 blows, and they were evenly matched. It was difficult to determine the winner. Alright, it's about time. Both of you should rest for a while. Seeing this, Lin Xian quickly stood up and stretched out his two large hands. Instantly, the air moved and turned into two waves enveloping the two of them, and separating the two of them. Seeing this, Morong Qingqing retreated and didn't attack again. Yen Ryu, who was at the side, also stopped. After fighting for so long, you must be tired. Come and have a taste of the spiritual tea. Morong Qingqing said softly. Alright, I'll do as you say. Yin Ryu also smiled. The two of them looked like good friends who hadn't seen each other in a long time. They were no longer fighting with their lives on the line. This scene shocked everyone. A woman's heart was like a needle at the bottom of the sea. It was really terrifying. In the distance, Hua Tiandu looked at this scene and snorted. He didn't expect the Jade Lake Saintess to be able to fight to a draw with Yin Ryu. It really surprised him. However, the few elites next to him laughed. Yin Ryu definitely didn't use her full strength. She didn't use her trump card. Otherwise, how could it be a draw? Yes, with Yin Ryu's identity, once she used her trump card, no matter how powerful or how talented the Jade Lake Saintess was, she couldn't stop her. Hearing this, Hua Tiandu nodded. Indeed, if Yin Ryu used all her trump cards, perhaps only Yi Wudao and the Yi family saint body could contend with her. The others wouldn't be able to resist at all. Thinking of this, Hua Tiandu was relieved. However, he still regretted that if Yin Ryu could attack Lin Xian, it would be great. Of course, he knew that it was impossible. Therefore, he could only put his hope on the heavenly human tribe's little Sky King. Next, everyone exchanged pointers and asked for advice. Even the saints and saintesses would give guidance to some ordinary disciples for the first time. This made everyone very excited. Before long, the four manifestations' holy child stepped forward and challenged Leaf Daudinier to a duel in terms of physique in close combat. Yi Wudao agreed readily. The two of them exchanged 100 blows, and the four symbols saint was forced to retreat. A saint body was indeed unparalleled in the world. The four symbols saint wasn't too upset, because he knew how terrifying a saint body was. The others were even more shocked. Although the four symbols saint was forced to retreat, they didn't underestimate him. To be able to withstand so many blows from a saint body, and rely on his physique to fight in close combat, was definitely terrifying to the extreme. Perhaps, other than a saint body, there weren't many people who could contend with the four symbols saint. Oh, how lively! Another sneer came from the distance. Chapter 2681. Seeing this scene, everyone exclaimed. The people from the war tribe were here too. This was going to be interesting. In the crowd, the people from the Yin-Yang sect, Five Elements Palace and Nine Heavens Sacred Ground all sneered. Many people looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. So what if the war tribe was here? He could easily defeat Zhang Changfeng last time, and he could do the same this time. Therefore, he did not care at all. He waved his hand and let them in. The prodigies of the war tribe walked with majestic steps, looking down on everyone. They brought with them a powerful aura that made everyone silent. So powerful, these people exclaimed. At the same time, they realized that there was another group of people beside the war tribe. These people were also glowing with powerful auras, but they were obviously not from the war tribe. Who were these people? How could they be on the same level as the war tribe? They were even surprised to find that Zhang Changfeng and the other prodigies were half a step behind. Walking in front of them was a young man. He was a very handsome young man with a head of white hair that was unusually eye-catching. Not only this evil young man, but many people behind him also had white hair. It was very strange. Who were these people? Everyone was discussing. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes and was puzzled. Beside him, the dark red dragon also screamed. Heavenly human tribe. Heaven, it was the heavenly human tribe. They were here too. It seemed that this was indeed a golden age. Many ancient tribes had appeared. What was that? Lin Xian was surprised and turned around to ask. Like the war tribe, the heavenly human tribe was a tribe that had been passed down since ancient times. They were very powerful. They claimed to be the descendants of heaven, and knew how to use the power of heaven and earth. Especially the legendary heavenly human tribe. They were really terrifying to the extreme. They could easily achieve the unity of heaven and man, and their use of the power of heaven and earth was many times stronger than other prodigies. However, like the war tribe, the heavenly human tribe had been living in seclusion for tens of thousands of years. No one knew if the heavenly human tribe still had any heavenly human tribe members. So powerful. Lin Xian was shocked. Heavenly human tribe. Just by hearing the name, he knew that it was an extremely powerful tribe. He never expected that the other party would also appear. Moreover, what made him frown was that the other party was walking so closely with the war race. This wasn't a good sign. Kid, this is a golden age. You can't let your guard down. The dark red divine dragon reminded him via voice transmission. Although you're a top-tier saint now, that's only in the human race. The human race was one of the 10,000 ancient races. When the Great Emperor contest took place, it wasn't just the human race. Many ancient hermit races would also show up. Zhan Ru and the heavenly human tribe were one of them. There were too many powerful tribes like them. All kinds of astonishing and heaven-defying physiques would emerge one after another. Therefore, on the path of becoming a great emperor, one must never relax. Upon hearing the dark red divine dragon's reminder, Lin Xian's expression turned grave. His eyes shone with a cold light. The 10,000 ancient races? It really made one's blood boil with anticipation. The other saints and saintesses were also discussing. The eyes of Leaf Daodinier, No Flower, Gu Santong, the Prince of the Grand Xia, and the others all flickered. It was obvious that the arrival of the heavenly human tribe had brought them a sense of threat and oppression. Who knew if there would be other powerful tribes coming back to life after this? But no matter what, they knew that this might really be a golden age. Geniuses would emerge one after another, and all kinds of heaven-defying physiques would appear in this era. The older generation figures were even more envious and amazed. Was the road to becoming a great emperor about to open? If it did, the battle this time would be far more intense than before. Yes, the battle to become a great emperor was already fraught with difficulties. Now that there was a golden age, it would be extremely intense. The final great emperor would probably step on the corpses of countless tribes and sky prides to reach the top. Everyone discussed animatedly as they kept looking ahead. At the same time, the people of the heavenly human tribe also looked around. Among them, Zhan Chongfeng looked around as if he was looking for something. When he saw Lin Xian, his eyes shone with a cold light, and his lips curled into a cold smile. He whispered a few words into the ears of the white-haired youth at the front. Sure enough, the youth heard something and turned to look at Lin Xian. His eyes were like two sharp divine swords that pierced through the void. Buzz! The space around Lin Xian instantly cracked. Countless small cracks spread out in all directions. In addition to this technique, there was also a strong sense of oppression. But fortunately, Lin Xian was surrounded by top-tier sky prides, and Lin Xian was even more powerful. He snorted coldly, and a sharp sword light appeared in his eyes as he charged forward. Clang! Clang! Their gazes collided in the air, and two pitch-black vortexes appeared in the void. They were bottomless. So powerful. The surrounding martial artists and sky prides were shocked. The older generation figures' eyelids were also twitching. The young man from the heavenly human tribe sneered. Interesting. You are worthy of my attack. What? He wants to attack. As soon as he said that, everyone exclaimed, and the entire scene immediately became chaotic. Among them, many saints and saintesses instantly understood that the heavenly human tribe was most likely a powerful helper invited by the war tribe. At this moment, the heavenly human tribe's prodigy was probably helping the war tribe. That's right. Who would have thought that the heavenly human tribe would attack before the war tribe's #1 sky pride appeared? There would probably be an earth-shattering battle soon. That was for sure. The heavenly human tribe was extremely powerful. They were one with the heavens, and could use the extreme power of heaven and earth. They were definitely terrifying and mysterious. He wondered if that brat Lin Xian would be able to withstand it. That would depend on which prodigy from the heavenly human tribe would attack. Everyone was discussing. Those from the Yin-Yang sect, Five Elements Palace, and Nine Heavens Holy Ground sneered. They naturally knew how terrifying the heavenly human tribe was. With a prodigy from the heavenly human tribe attacking, that kid would probably not be able to block them. On the other side, Gu Santong, No Flower, and the others frowned. The war tribe was able to find someone from the heavenly human tribe. That was really surprising. Yu Wudao said. Brother Lin, be careful. The white-haired youth at the front is not simple. He seemed to be from the heavenly human tribe, and was known as the Little Sky King. Little Sky King. Hearing this name, Lin Xian squinted his eyes. The surrounding saints and Sky Pride's eyelids twitched. That was a very arrogant name. He actually dared to call himself a Sky King. However, he added the word little in front of it, which meant that he was a Sky King of the younger generation. However, that was already very terrifying. For a moment, many people looked at Lin Xian with complicated expressions. They wondered if Lin Xian could block them. Chapter 2682. That's right. The Little Sky King stepped out with his hands behind his back. He looked arrogant. I'd like to see what kind of ability you have to provoke the war tribe. Make your move. I'll give you 3 moves. Hearing that, everyone's mouths twitched as if they had seen a ghost. Arrogant, he's too arrogant. What was Lin Xian's strength? He was a top saint. He had easily defeated Zhang Changfeng, and had even killed many holy sons. How powerful was such a person? But now, the Little Sky King said that he would give Lin Xian 3 moves first. How confident and arrogant was that? As expected, No Flower, Gu Santong, and the others' expressions changed. The dark red divine dragon gritted its teeth. Damn it, it really wanted to slap him a few times. Kid, kill him. I heard that the heavenly human tribe has a fragment of the heavenly laws. Let's see if it's true. Hearing that, the surrounding people's mouths twitched as they looked at the dark red divine dragon in shock. Damn it, is this snake crazy? It wants to kill the Little Sky King of the heavenly human tribe? It really doesn't want to cause trouble. Brother Xian, be careful. Brother Lin Xian, do your best. Beside him, Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu also looked worried. Yin Ryu smiled and her eyes flickered. It seemed that there would be a good show to watch. She was looking forward to the next battle. At this moment, countless geniuses looked at Lin Xian. Lin Qingxian stood up, shook his robe, and said loudly, No need, I'll give you 10 moves. 10 moves? Hearing that, everyone was shocked and dumbfounded. The people of the war tribe and the heavenly human tribe also looked gloomy, especially the people of the heavenly human tribe. Their expressions became ferocious. How dare you? Who do you think you are? How dare you say that to the Little Sky King? What a reckless kid. Today will be the day of your death. They felt that Lin Xian was too arrogant. The Little Sky King's face also darkened and his eyes lit up. Good, very good. I didn't expect someone to be more arrogant than me. However, do you have the right to be so arrogant? Do you have it? You can try. You're really interesting. He is worthy of me making a move. However, I advise you to take out your true trump card and give it your all. Otherwise, I'm afraid you won't have the chance to attack anymore. In the next moment, an incomparably terrifying aura gushed out of his body. It was as if a divine fire was burning fiercely. A powerful force suppressed the world. This time, it was as if he had really drawn a heavenly king. Everyone was trembling. Even the holy sons and holy daughters looked solemn. They had to admit that the other party did have the capital and strength to be so arrogant. He was simply too powerful. Even Leaf Dao Dinier had a very serious expression on his face. Lin Xian coldly snorted. His 9-yang divine body blossomed with light, making him look like a sun war god. Boom! He punched out, and there was a terrifying sound of thunder. Accompanied by a bright light, it was like a sun streaking across the sky. It was so powerful that the expressions of the surrounding people changed. Unexpectedly, Lin Xian was also incomparably terrifying. And from the looks of it, his strength was even more terrifying than when he was fighting Zhang Changfeng. As expected, the other party had not used his full strength earlier. Perhaps this was the true strength of the other party. One after another shock was heard. However, the people of the heavenly human tribe were quite calm. That was because they had full confidence in their little heavenly king. The little heavenly king squinted his eyes. No wonder Zhang Changfeng of the war tribe was defeated. The other party's fist was indeed terrifying. However, that was all. The other party was definitely not his opponent. In the next moment, he stretched out his vigorous palm and slapped forward. Suddenly, countless auras filled the air, forming a palm of light. It was like the palm of a god that could destroy everything. This palm blocked the fist that was as bright as the sun. Was this the power of heaven and earth? Everyone was shocked. Although they could also use the power of heaven and earth, it was insignificant compared to the other party. The other party's palm was too mysterious. It was so light, but it blocked such a terrifying fist. It really had the charm of using 4 tails to defeat 1,000 caddies. Lin Xian was also moved. Was this the power of the heavenly human tribe? They could turn something rotten into something magical. They were indeed worthy of their reputation. No wonder they were on equal footing with the war tribe. As for Leaf Daodinier, he looked very serious. Lin Xian snorted coldly. His eyes burst out with an even colder light. The 9-yang divine body was also at full power. An incomparably terrifying aura spread out from his body. Not only did Lin Xian use the 9-yang divine body, but he also used the power of the great dragon sword soul. A loud and clear dragon roar sounded. The dragon sword realm surrounded him, and terrifying sword light swept across the world. The sword light was accompanied by a dragon's roar. Feeling the sword chi, everyone's scalp went numb, and they kept retreating. The people of the war tribe and the heavenly human tribe also changed their expressions. Especially the heavenly human tribe. They were even more surprised. This guy was actually a swordsman. They thought that Lin Xian was a close combat expert. The little heavenly king's eyes also darkened, and a biting cold light bloomed in his eyes. I didn't expect you to be a swordsman. This was even more interesting. As he spoke, his palm moved, and countless energy danced in the air, forming a spiritual sword that bloomed with incomparable light. It appeared from the sky like a sword of a god descending from the sky. A terrifying sword chi burst out from the little heavenly king's body. I'm sorry, but I've also practiced the sword Dao. What? This little heavenly king is also an expert of the sword Dao. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect that both sides practiced the sword Dao. This was going to be a good show. The prince of the great Xia dynasty had a solemn look. A golden light appeared on his body, because he was also an expert of the sword Dao. Although Yi Wudao, the Alcate sage, No Flower, and the others were not experts of the sword Dao, they were also looking forward to this battle. Murong, Shen Jingqiu, and Yen Ruyu, the 3 peerless beauties, also had flickering eyes. Among them, Shen Jingqiu snorted coldly. He was definitely not a match for Lin Xian. The people of the Yinyang sect and the 5 Elements Palace laughed. An expert of the sword Dao? That's great. Defeating the opponent in the opponent's strongest field. I think there's nothing more painful than this kind of defeat. In the pavilion, Hua Tiandu looked at this scene and grinned. When this kid is defeated, let's see if he still has the face to see Yen Ruyu. Everyone sneered. Lin Xian was also surprised. His opponent was also an expert of the sword Dao. However, he was really courting death by competing with him in the sword. An expert of the sword Dao. I hope you won't cry later. Lin Xian smiled. In the next moment, he pulled out the dragon source sword and slashed down. You'll be the one crying later. The little heavenly king also held his spiritual sword and charged forward. The battle between the two was earth-shattering. One was like a sword immortal, while the other was like a sword god. Every time they collided, an unparalleled light would erupt. Chapter 2683. Each time he used the power of heaven and earth, it was extremely terrifying. How was this a sword technique? It was simply destroying the world. The heavenly human tribe was one with heaven and man, and they could easily use the ultimate power of heaven and earth. Everyone even saw tribulation lightning falling from the sky. However, they were even more terrified of Lin Xian. Lin Xian was unharmed by such a terrifying tribulation lightning sword. What kind of physique did he have? If not for Lin Xian's surname, they would even suspect that Lin Xian was the second sage physique of the Yi family. Damn it, what was going on with this kid's physique? The people of the Yinyang sect, 5 Elements Palace, and 9 Heavens Sacred Ground roared crazily. The 4 Symbols Saint stared at Lin Xian with his eyes wide open. Damn it, how could his physique be so strong? It's even more terrifying than my Dracophant physique. He was too shocked. He cultivated the 4 Symbols Sacred Ground's physique, the Dracophant physique, which was extremely terrifying. Previously, with this powerful physique, he was able to exchange more than 100 blows with Yi Wudao before he was forced to retreat. One could only imagine how terrifying the Dracophant physique was. However, he now realized that Lin Xian's physique was even more terrifying than his Dracophant physique. He even speculated that it was not weaker than a sage physique. This was really shocking. Not only the four symbols saints, but the other saints and saintesses were also going crazy. Among them, the Taishian saint's eyes were like stars, trying to see through Lin Xian's secret. The Alcate saint's body was surrounded by light like a god fiend. It was also his first time seeing Lin Xian's nine eyes physique. He was also shocked. The people of the Yi family were even more shocked. In short, at this moment, everyone was shocked by the strong physique that Lin Xian displayed. The people of the heavenly human tribe were also shocked. Damn it, who was he? How could he withstand the power of tribulation lightning? The little Sky King's face was gloomy. Kid, let's see how long you can withstand it. He did not expect Lin Xian's physique to be so strong. Myriad lightning sword light. The little Sky King held his spiritual sword and slashed down. The sky was torn apart, and a large hole was opened. Countless thunder and lightning bolts rained down. Each of them contained the aura of the heavenly tribulation. Little Sky King had no choice but to use the power of heaven and earth to attack. Heavenly tribulation? You think you're the only one who knows how to do it? Lin Xian's eyes shone with a sharp light. He waved the ancient dragon abyss sword, and the void beneath his feet split open. Countless lightning dragons rushed out. Every single one of them was incomparably terrifying, and they all exuded a world-destroying power. Boom! Boom! The two forces collided in the heavenly palace. Thunder and lightning filled the sky, destroying the world. Then, they dissipated in the air at the same time. It was blocked. He had actually blocked the power of the myriad tribulation sword technique. Damn it, what's wrong with this brat? How could he also know this kind of destructive lightning tribulation? Celestial Clan's people were stupefied. Little Sky King's face fell, his white hair flying about crazily. The other saints and elites were also shocked. The dark red divine dragon sneered. With the great dragon sword soul, what kind of power could he not display? These heavenly humans were still too naive. Lin Xian used the chaotic yin-yang steps. Yin and yang energy appeared under his feet, and he disappeared into the void. When he reappeared, he was next to Little Sky King. The ancient dragon source sword slashed horizontally. Countless dragon shadows appeared on the sword light, exuding a primordial aura. Yin and yang energy. How could this brat know yin and yang energy? Everyone exclaimed, and the people of the yin-yang sect screamed. Damn it, the chaotic yin-yang steps. How could he know that? They were all crazy. Little Sky King could not care less about the yin and yang energy. He felt threatened. His opponent's sword strike was too terrifying. It was as if it was going to cut him in half. At this moment, the ancient dragon abyss sword had turned into a divine rainbow. A loud dragon roar resounded, freezing Little Sky King's blood. However, Little Sky King was extremely powerful. He was one of the top elites of the younger generation. Immediately, two pairs of spiritual power wings appeared on his back. He flapped them gently and quickly retreated. It was like a fleeting shadow. At the same time, he waved his palm and slapped out. Mountains and rivers appeared in the void. The trees towered into the sky, and birds and beasts danced in the sky. It was like a real mountain. However, all of this was condensed from spiritual power. This was the power and means of the heavenly human tribe. Boom! The spiritual mountain fell from the sky, and directly pressed Lin Xian under it. With a rumbling sound, the void shattered and countless black holes appeared. Seeing this scene, the people of the heavenly human tribe laughed loudly. Do you see that? This is the power of the Little Sky King. In front of me, you can't resist at all. Little Sky King sneered. The people of the war tribe also laughed. The people of the Yin-Yang sect, Huatiandu, and the Five Elements Palace also revealed ferocious expressions. The others were in an uproar. What a terrifying spiritual mountain. They quickly analyzed and felt that even they would not be able to withstand it in a head-on confrontation, unless they could dodge it, or had a terrifying body like Yi Wudao. This kid's body was strong, so he should not die. However, he would definitely be injured. Yes, but he was injured, so he did not have any advantage in front of Little Sky King. His opponent was also a top genius. If this dragged on, it would be disadvantageous for Lin Xian. It seemed that this time, Lin Xian was really going to lose. Lin Xian was powerful, but Little Sky King was even more terrifying. Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingxiu were also very worried. Their beautiful eyes were filled with worry. Yan Rui's eyes flickered, and no one knew what she was thinking. The most calm person was the dark red divine dragon. He just wait and see. That kid won't be defeated so easily. It and Lin Xian had killed more than one invincible king. How could they be defeated by a Little Sky King? Buzz! Buzz! Indeed, in an instant, a sword light lit up in the endless black hole, illuminating heaven and earth. In the next moment, the majestic spiritual mountain was split into two halves. Rumble! It turned into spiritual chi and shattered the void. Lin Xian's figure rushed out. His bright red robe trembled, but he was not injured at all. What? His physique was actually so strong. Damn it, this was impossible. The heavenly human screamed, while Little Sky King was sent flying with a muffled groan. This was because the sword had directly slashed his body. Fortunately, he had armor and spiritual shield on his body. Although he was sent flying, the sword did not directly hit him. However, he still underestimated the great dragon sword soul. Although the long sword did not hit him, the sword chi passed through the spiritual shield and hit his body. It caused his blood to boil, and his face became as pale as a sheet. The heavenly human tribe was just SOSO. Lin Xian raised his head and looked at Little Sky King in the distance. There was a hint of disdain in his words. Kid, you're courting death. Little Sky King stopped, and his eyes were extremely cold. You've completely angered me. I'll let you see my true strength. Boom. The spiritual chi on his body exploded, and 9 vortexes appeared beside him, crazily absorbing the power between heaven and earth. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.